Chapter 1561. Gong Rong was filming a short film every day, shouting, "Someone, I want to see you." The short film was very beautiful. Coupled with Gong Rong's appearance, it attracted a lot of people. It was comparable to a celebrity. Many people waited to watch Gong Rong's short film every day. A lot of people said that they wanted to give birth to a child for Prince Charming. Gong Rong's face was really attractive to both young and old. Even if men saw it, they would slap their thighs. It was really fucking beautiful. There were even management companies that wanted to poach Gong Rong to be a celebrity. With such a beautiful face, it was a waste not to be a celebrity. In the first 30 years, Gong Rong had appeared as a woman. Now that he had become a man, very few people thought that Gong Rong was that Gong Rong. Moreover, Gong Rong felt completely different when he was a man and when he was a woman. Ning Shu was puzzled. He had been raised as a girl since he was young. Why didn't his personality change? "Someone, I'm about to die. Aren't you going to come and see me?" "Someone, I want to see you." Ning Shu closed the computer. His heart hurt. What did Gong Rong want? However, it was true that Gong Rong said that he was about to die. There was a death aura between Gong Rong's brows. It seemed that he couldn't hold on for long. Ning Shu didn't plan to go. As long as Gong Rong died, some things would be resolved. He couldn't have anything to do with Gong Rong. Especially if Gong Rong died, SR Group would definitely be in chaos. This was a big piece of fat meat. Everyone wanted to eat it. There would definitely be a period of chaos. If she had anything to do with Gong Rong, wouldn't the firepower be focused on her? That wouldn't do. Moreover, with Ning Shu's understanding of Gong Rong, he definitely wasn't holding back anything good. He probably wanted to scheme against her before he died. Therefore, when Ning Shu heard Gong Rong call him that, Ning Shu felt that his heart was about to explode. Those who didn't know would think that they were in an ambiguous relationship. Ning Shu was waiting for Gong Rong to breathe his last. If this short film continued, Ning Shu was afraid that he would be found out. Fuck, there were always stupid men who wanted to push her to the forefront. Gong Rong worked tirelessly to shoot the short film. In the beginning, she was sitting on the bed, but in the end, she was sleeping on the bed. She weakly said, "Someone, I want to see you." Anyone could see that Gong Rong's situation was getting worse. The people under Gong Rong's Weibo were about to cry to death. They were all urging someone to take a look at their idol. Their idol was about to die. Ning Shu simply wanted to smash the computer. He had lost all hope in this world where looks were everything. You guys only see the frail Gong Rong, the beautiful Gong Rong, but you guys don't know what kind of person Gong Rong is. Ning Shu used a virtual IP address to leave a message on Gong Rong's Weibo. "Someone of yours is already dead. Otherwise, he would have appeared long ago." Ning Shu sent a few messages. He was just short of saying, "Go in peace and don't wait." Then, Ning Shu erased all traces of himself. It was impossible to track her down. However, Ning Shu's words didn't cause any reaction from Gong Rong. Instead, it angered Gong Rong's fangirls, and they all attacked Ning Shu. "Our idol is about to die, and you're still saying that. You're too much. I just want to see someone in my life. You're too cruel. Can't you leave someone with a beautiful memory? You're so heartless and unreasonable. Ning Shu, I'm wrong, okay?" Gong Rong started to have difficulty breathing and put on an oxygen mask. Gong Rong was still shooting a short film. She said weakly, "Someone, I want to see you." "Ning Shu, see you my ass." Ning Shu realized that no matter whether he went or not, he would attract a lot of attention because of Gong Rong. This attention included the people of the SR Group. Now that Gong Rong had regained her male identity, the people of the SR Group must have known. Then, the someone that Gong Rong mentioned was probably a lot of people waiting for someone to appear. Ning Shu clenched his fists. He really wanted to smash Gong Rong's face on the screen. Hold it in, wait until Gong Rong dies. Fuck, why isn't she dead yet? A scourge lives for 1,000 years. Ning Shu was a bit afraid that Gong Rong would be selected by the system. One or two would be fine, but if another one came, Ning Shu would go crazy. Her mission was simply poisonous. It was like the red crane's crown that killed at the sight of blood. Why couldn't Gong Luo swallow her anger? Mother Su opened the door and came in. When she saw Ning Shu, she said happily, "I heard that there's a kidney. I might have an operation soon." Ning Shu hurriedly closed the computer. Hearing Mother Su's words, he was delighted. That's great. He hoped that nothing would happen this time. As long as Gong Rong didn't die, Ning Shu's heart wouldn't be at ease. The gap between her and Gong Rong was too big. One was an ordinary civilian. She didn't have the money or social status to compete with Gong Rong. Ning Shu was now hoping that Gong Rong would die soon. It should be fine. We have some money. As soon as the kidney arrives, we can perform the operation. Mother Su was also very happy. After all, who wouldn't want to live if they could? Even ants would want to live. Moreover, she wanted to see her daughter start a family, have children, be healthy, and live a peaceful life. Especially after escaping death on the island, she felt how difficult it was to live a peaceful life. From now on, I'll take care of everything at home. You take good care of your body so that you can perform the operation, Ning Shu said to Mother Su. Mother Su rubbed Ning Shu's forehead with her face. I've failed in my life to find a man like your father who listens to others. It's fine if he listens to others, but he doesn't listen to me. He listens to other women. We rely on each other. I won't allow you to do such things in the future. If anything happens to you, I won't be able to live. You want mommy to live, but mommy wants you to live even more. If something happens to you, what do you want mommy to do? As Mother Su spoke, her tears fell and dripped onto Ning Shu's forehead. Tears seemed to seep into Ning Shu's heart, making Ning Shu's heart ache. Survival wasn't easy. Gong Rong was someone who stood at the top of the pyramid. What others tried their best to do, he could do with a word. To people who were lower than him, he was like pigs, dogs, cows, and sheep. Killing people was like slaughtering chickens. Ning Shu was a mission enforcer. He accepted all kinds of missions. There were mission enforcers of all ranks and even animals. For Ning Shu, there were 3 kinds of people in this world. One was close to him, one was his enemy, and the last was people he didn't care about. There was no special class. If others didn't provoke him, he wouldn't provoke them. Generally speaking, he didn't agree with Gong Rong's values. Everyone had different values. It was impossible to have someone with the same values. Facial features were more important than values. Just look at Gong Rong's Weibo and the countless people who felt sorry for Gong Rong. She said something that wasn't very pleasant to the ears, and she was faced with a crusade. Originally, she was #/ Chapter 1562. Shinshin, don't let anything happen to you in the future. I'd rather die than let you die. Mother Su frowned. You don't know, but my heart has been pounding recently. I can't feel at ease. Mother Su's face was full of worry. Ning Shu comforted her. It's okay. You're nervous because you're going to have an operation. Don't worry. Mom, don't worry. No matter what, I'll protect myself. I still have to take care of you. How can I let anything happen to me? Ning Shu thought about it and said, let's move. Move again? Mother Su asked in surprise. It was easy to be exposed if they lived in one place for too long. The island incident wasn't over yet. Gong Rong hadn't let her off the hook yet. Ning Shu didn't plan to tell her that Mother Su was recuperating and preparing for the operation. It wasn't something Mother Su could solve. Letting her know would only add to her worries. It wasn't good for her body to think too much. I mean, let's move to a better place. It can be closer to the hospital. That way, it'll be more convenient for you to go to the hospital. Gong Rong couldn't find her if they moved often. Ning Shu was wondering if they should go abroad. In China, Gong Rong was hanging on by a thread. It was really annoying. There's no need to move. I think it's good here. The people around are nice, Mother Su said. It's too tiring to move around like this. Ning Shu saw that Mother Su really didn't want to move. It would take some time to find a place in a normal neighborhood like this. Mother Su's body couldn't take it either. Ning Shu didn't want to move. Everyone was waiting to watch Gong Rong's short films. Ning Shu was waiting for Gong Rong to stop filming. If she stopped, it would be the time for him to die. Oh heavens, Ning Shu had never wished for someone to die so viciously before. I'm going out for a walk, Mother Su said to Ning Shu. Watching others dance makes me feel younger. Mother Su now liked to watch people of her age dance. They were so energetic that Mother Su felt happy just by watching from the side. So when she was free, Mother Su would watch others dance. Ning Shu nodded. Yes, be careful. You can't dance now, so don't force yourself. Mother Su went out, leaving Ning Shu alone at home, watching Gong Rong's short film. Ning Shu could see that the current Gong Rong was already an arrow at the end of its flight. Ning Shu didn't know why Gong Rong was looking for him. Ning Shu closed the laptop. His heart was in a dilemma. Should she go or not? Should she not go or not? Ning Shu weighed the pros and cons in his heart and felt that there was no need to go. If he went, he would attract a lot of attention. She always felt that Gong Rong wanted to kill her. Samaida. Why don't I just take Mother Su abroad? But now that I have ass, if I give up now, I don't know when the next time will come. Mother Su's illness could not wait any longer. Ning Shu's heart skipped a beat. He wondered if this was true. It seemed that Gong Rong also knew that Mother Su had uremia. This might be used by Gong Rong to fish, and he wanted to catch her. Or was there really ass and Gong Rong was going to use it to threaten her? Ning Shu thought about it and put on a thin jacket. He planned to go to the hospital to ask about the. Ning Shu opened the door and saw a man in a black suit. The man was raising his hand to ring the doorbell. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. It was an old acquaintance. Li Zhao, the lean man who had been on the ship, was obviously Gong Rong's man. Miss Su, our young master is looking for you. Li Zhao said coldly. Please come with us. Ning Shu crossed his arms and raised his chin slightly. How did you find me? You don't have to worry about that. Li Zhao said and made way for Ning Shu. There were a lot of bodyguards behind Li Zhao, and they blocked the door and the stairwell. Ning Shu scanned them with her psychic power and knew that these people were armed with guns and even equipped with silencers. They were eager to kill her. He looked at Ning Shu warily. Ning Shu didn't know if he should be proud or speechless that so many people had come to pick him up. Please come with us. Our young master wants to see you. Ning Shu suddenly asked, How old is your young master? He was already an old cucumber, but he still pretended to be young and asked people to call him young master. After a brief silence, Li Zhao said, Our young master looks young. Ning Shu couldn't argue with that. Your father is dancing in the senior center. Look. Li Zhao took out his phone. On the screen, Mother Su was sitting on a chair and watching other people dance. That meant that Mother Su was being monitored. Ning Shu didn't expect them to come so quickly. Sometimes, the address wasn't a secret. Mother Su often went to the hospital for kidney dialysis. Some information could be found with a simple search. Ning Shu looked at Li Zhao coldly. Li Zhao put his phone away and said, We won't hurt your father. It's just that our young master wants to see you before he dies. Li Zhao also hinted that Ning Shu would be rewarded for their meeting. Ning Shu was lost for words. She didn't want any benefits. There was no free lunch in the world. Gong Rong was looking for her because he wanted to see her before he died. She would rather believe that there were ghosts in this world than Gong Rong's mouth. Especially now, he was threatening her with her mother. It would be strange if there weren't ghosts. Ning Shu said with a smile, Okay, I'll go with you to see Gong Rong. To be honest, I do miss him. Ning Shu went downstairs. There was a long line of black luxury cars parked at the gate of the neighborhood. It was a bit scary. Li Zhao couldn't help but be vigilant. It was a shame that they kidnapped their young master right under their noses. Although there were so many people, Li Zhao still didn't feel at ease. More importantly, the other party wasn't afraid at all in the face of such a lineup, which made them feel even more guilty. Ning Shu took out his phone and called Mother Su. The call went through and Ning Shu heard loud music on the other end of the line. Mom, I have something to do. Come back and make yourself some food. After Ning Shu hung up, Li Zhao reached out his hand and said, Please give me your phone for safekeeping. Although Li Zhao said please, his attitude was very rude. Ning Shu snorted. Is Gong Rong the head of the country? Can't I bring my phone to see him? Ning Shu stared at Li Zhao. She was just holding back. If they really got into a fight, even if she couldn't win, she could still escape. Ning Shu was worried about Mother Su, who was being watched. Damn it, he knew this wouldn't be over. There was no end to it. Being stared at by Ning Shu, Li Zhao said, "Please don't do anything extreme. You can have the phone." Ning Shu, "It's mine. It's mine." Chapter 1563. The car drove steadily towards the hospital. A string of black luxury cars followed behind, each car filled with people. Please search, Yen, to see the most complete. The fastest to update. Ning Shu's mouth twitched. She wasn't a terrorist. Did she need so many people to watch her? Ning Shu fiddled with his phone and bought 2 plane tickets, the fastest to leave this place. Li Zhao's gaze kept sweeping over Ning Shu's phone. Ning Shu said, "I'm checking which brand of sanitary napkin is the best. I didn't feel good before. Let's go together." Li Zhao coughed and looked away. When they arrived at the hospital, Li Zhao took Ning Shu through the VIP passage. They arrived at a ward. Li Zhao opened the door and sat down. "Young master is inside." Ning Shu walked in. There was a man sitting on a stool beside the bed, listening to Gong Rong. This man looked younger than Gong Rong. He wasn't old, but he was wearing a dark suit and looked mature. "Gong Yi, you can go out." Gong Rong's voice was very weak. "Yes, uncle." Gong Yi stood up and looked at Ning Shu with suspicion. When he went out, he closed the door. Gong Rong sat up. Ning Shu said, "If I didn't ask someone to look for you, you wouldn't have come. You're the most cold-hearted woman I've ever met. If it was an ordinary woman, she would have come to see me when I'm filming a short film." Ning Shu smiled and said, "Because I know you don't have good intentions." Gong Rong waved to Ning Shu. "Stand closer." Ning Shu walked in. Gong Rong grabbed Ning Shu's hand. His hand was cold to the bone. There was no fire in his body. Fire was also Yang Qi. "Su Xian, come with me," Gong Rong said. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu quickly pulled Gong Rong's hand away. But Gong Rong's hand was very close. His hand was so pale that the veins on the back of his hand were very obvious. Ning Shu asked, "What does go together mean?" "I just want to go to another world with me." "The netherworld?" "You are just that smart." Gong Rong smiled, like a plain flower slowly blooming. It was pleasing to the eye, and it was beautiful for both men and women. Ning Shu pried open Gong Rong's hand, finger by finger, and said, "Our 3 views are not compatible. We can't die together." "Fuck, do you think you're an emperor? Do you want people to be buried with you?" "Fuck, there were always men who either wanted to kill her to preserve her beauty or to drag her down with them." Gong Rong's fingers were pulled apart one by Ning Shu. Gong Rong didn't mind and said, "I knew you would say that. I just feel that if the 2 of us die together, it would be a great joy in life." Gong Rong looked at Ning Shu. "I quite like your shameless personality. You're even more shameless than I am. How could he have the nerve to ask others to die with him? I'm living well. Why did you have to kill me when I provoked you?" Gong Rong was a little tired. She leaned against the pillow and said in a low voice, "You don't seem to like me very much." Ning Shu, did she like Gong Rong? Ning Shu asked, "If you were living well and I asked you to die with me, would you be willing?" Gong Rong nodded, "I'm willing. I don't have any taboos about death. I knew I would die since I was young. Maybe tomorrow, maybe a year later, maybe 10 years later. Who didn't know they would die? The only thing in life that was certain was death." Ning Shu was speechless. "Do you want me to be so touched that I'll die with you in the short film?" Ning Shu figured out why she was on the death list. It was impossible that Gong Rong didn't know she was still alive. Then if she died, she would become a nobody. Even if she died, no one would pursue the matter. Then Gong Rong had planned to bury her with him before this. Ning Shu gave him the middle finger. Previously, a man had said, "I will preserve your beauty forever." Now a man had said, "Let's go. Open the door to a new world with me." Ning Shu took 2 steps back. Li Zhao took a step forward and pressed a gun against Ning Shu's waist. "Don't move. Let young master finish speaking," Li Zhao said in a low voice. Ning Shu pulled a chair and sat down. Young Master Gong, why do you want me to die with you? Well, maybe it's too lonely. If you're on the road to hell, I won't be lonely. Gong Rong's black eyes looked at Ning Shu. They were like the purest obsidian. She had long eyelashes and looked unexpectedly pure. Ning Shu's mouth twitched. You like me? Gong Rong shook her head. No. The feeling you give me is like a pet that died when I was 10. That was the first time I understood what death was. Ning Shu, huck, she was a pet? I like to see you stubbornly struggling. It's very interesting. Gong Rong's face was pale. But a person's fate can't be changed by struggling. Although I can't control my own fate, I can control the fate of others. For example, yours. She looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu stretched out his index finger and waved it. No. Dear, you're going in the opposite direction. It's better to control your own fate than to control the fate of others. Gong Rong nodded. Maybe. Do you know why I want you to go with me? Gong Rong looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu shrugged. Who knows what you're thinking? Because you killed Gong Fu. Although I don't have evidence, I feel that you killed Fu. Ning Shu rolled her eyes. If you say that I killed your sister, then I killed your sister. I didn't even get close to her. How could I kill her? Don't put any shit on my head. There should be a limit to nonsense. Some things don't need evidence. It depends on the heart. My heart tells me that this matter can't be separated from you. Gong Rong said flatly. Ning Shu clicked his tongue. Your heart tells you. Your heart is rotten, black and rotten. What can it tell you? Ning Shu silently moved the stool away from Gong Rong. Could it be that Gong Rong was going to die and wanted to frame her death on her head? Ning Shu now guessed that Gong Rong was the most malicious person. She could even say that she wanted her to be buried with her. What else could she not do? Ning Shu released his spiritual force to check if there were any monitors in the ward. There really were monitors. If she did something, this would be the evidence. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first. Ning Shu stood up and planned to leave. Ning Shu regretted that this building was a bit high. It was a bit scary to jump down from the window. Gong Rong patted the bed weakly and said, It's not easy to come here. Let's talk more. Come sit here. Ning Shu, why was it so difficult for her to live? Why the hell? Ning Shu grinned. What exactly do you want to do? Originally, she thought. Chapter 1564. I just want to talk to you. Relax. Gong Rong comforted Ning Shu. Don't be nervous. Ning Shu was really afraid of this kind of personality disorder. Everyone who wanted her to die would use such a gentle and doting expression. Yes, death is a gift to you. What does my life have to do with you crazy people? You fell in love with me? Ning Shu decided to disgust her. Fell in love with you? Gong Rong tilted her head and looked at Ning Shu. She actually looked a little innocent. Although I have never fallen in love with anyone, I know that love is a beautiful word. It is to hope that the other party will live well, to think for the other party and to contribute. But for you, I just want to drag you to hell with me. Ning Shu was speechless. Then you hate me. Ning Shu's mouth twitched. He hated her so much that he wanted to die together with her. Gong Rong shook her head. I don't hate you. I just feel that it is too lonely to die alone. If you were here, it wouldn't be so lonely, Gong Rong said. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu finally understood. In Gong Rong's heart, she was an inferior person. She didn't hate her, just like those concubines or slaves who were buried with her in ancient times. She felt that someone would die with her. Even in hell, there would be someone by her side to serve her. This was something that made people speechless. Your mother is being watched by my people now. As long as I make a call, your mother will die accidentally, Gong Rong said. Ning Shu closed her eyes. What she hated the most was being choked and threatened like this. Li Zhao had already taken out his gun from his waist. It was equipped with a silencer. As long as Gong Rong gave the order, Li Zhao would shoot her. The atmosphere was very tense. Just as the atmosphere was tense, there was a knock on the door. Li Zhao put the gun on his waist and opened the door. It was Gong Yi who had left earlier. Gong Yi glanced at Gong Rong and Ning Shu, as if he was guessing the relationship between Gong Rong and Ning Shu. "Uncle, I forgot to tell you something." Gong Yi paused for a moment. Ning Shu immediately said, "You guys talk, I'm leaving." Gong Rong stopped Ning Shu. "It's not easy for you to come here. You can leave later." Then, Gong Yi looked at her with a gaze that was like a laser, as if he wanted to pierce through her body and see through her. Gong Yi's lips were red and his teeth were white. Probably because he was young, he deliberately pretended to be mature and steady, trying hard to show that he was trustworthy and capable. But in the end, he couldn't compare to Gong Rong, even if Gong Rong was terminally ill and was about to die. Ning Shu wondered if this person was the new heir of SR Group. "Don't look at me like that. I have nothing to do with Gong Rong, and I'm not pregnant. A child won't suddenly appear and snatch things from you. You can rest assured." Before this, I didn't even know that Gong Rong was a man. Ning Shu said bluntly. Gong Yi. Gong Rong asked, "Anything else?" Gong Yi just wanted to come in and see the relationship between his uncle and this woman. As long as the heir's position wasn't confirmed, there would be variables. After pacing around the door for a long time, he finally mustered up the courage to open the door. Gong Rong only said, "Before you do anything, you have to think of a way out. Don't let others have something on you, understand?" "Go out, I want to say a few words to your aunt," Gong Rong said. Ning Shu and Gong Yi were both stunned. "Aunt?" Gong Yi frowned and looked at Ning Shu, then turned and left. "Gong Rong, what do you mean?" She was about to die, yet she still put the title of Madam Gong on her head. "If you're a woman who loves me deeply, it's not impossible for you to die for me." Gong Rong looked at Ning Shu and said lightly, "Ning Shu, fuck, what aunt?" Ning Shu finally saw how sinister Gong Rong could be. Even if she didn't die, the rest of the Gong family would covetously eye her, this widow. As the wife of the head of SR Group, if Gong Rong died, she, as the wife, would also get something. Wasn't this asking people to tear her apart? She was forced to be involved in the vortex of fighting for power. Whether she died or not, it didn't make a difference. Ning Shu looked at Gong Rong coldly. "Gong Rong, it's really the mercy of the heavens that you're still alive." Gong Rong tilted her head and looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu felt that he should really let those who saw Gong Rong scream come and see what kind of heart was under the handsome Prince Charming skin. "I also like how shameless you are," Ning Shu said lightly. Gong Rong still tilted her head and looked innocent. Ning Shu released an invisible force and destroyed all the cameras in the room. Bang 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 bang. The cameras made crisp cracking sounds. Li Zhao was shocked and held his gun defensively. Ning Shu's figure flashed as she knocked Li Zhao unconscious. Ning Shu took out Li Zhao's gun and twirled the gun in Ning Shu's hand. Gong Rong was shocked for a moment and then calmed down. She looked at Ning Shu, who walked to the bedside. Ning Shu pressed the gun against Gong Rong's temple. Gong Rong's expression didn't change. "I knew you weren't an ordinary person." "I'm really an ordinary person. It's just that I've been practicing martial arts for a few years." "You really killed Gong Fu," Gong Rong said with certainty. Ning Shu shook his head. "No, I didn't kill your sister." Gong Rong looked at Ning Shu. "Do you have a way to let me live?" Ning Shu smiled. Under Gong Rong's gaze, he said, "No. Who the hell wants to save you?" Ning Shu put his hand on Gong Rong's neck. Gong Rong reached out and grabbed Ning Shu's wrist tightly. She didn't let herself faint. "Su Xian." Gong Rong shouted hurriedly and grabbed Ning Shu's wrist tightly. "You're not allowed to go. I won't allow you to go." This obsession of wanting to drag her to die with him was too strong. Ning Shu smiled and pulled Gong Rong's hand away. "Go to hell by yourself. You'll be lonely on the road to the netherworld." "I'm happy to see you in pain," Ning Shu said. "Also, you've got the wrong person. I'm not Su Xian. I'm Su Chen. My sister, Su Xian, is dead." Gong Rong looked at Ning Shu as if she was looking at a fool. "It doesn't matter what your name is." "Ning Shu." Gong Rong's face turned green. Her chest rose and fell rapidly and she couldn't breathe properly. Ning Shu turned and left. Gong Rong clutched her chest tightly. Her breathing became more and more rapid and she fell off the bed. Ning Shu went out and closed the door of the ward. Gong Yi was still guarding the door. Gong Yi looked at Ning Shu with eyes full of scrutiny and said, "Are you really my aunt?" Ning Shu laughed. "You're thinking too much." Ning Shu left like a gust of wind. There were bodyguards guarding the door of the hospital. Ning Shu avoided these bodyguards and left over the wall. Ning Shu quickly called Mother Su and asked where she was. Mother Su said that she would be at home. Ning Shu hurriedly took a taxi back. When he returned to the neighborhood, he saw 2 bodyguards wandering around downstairs. He was supposed to be here. Chapter 1565. Ning Shu's bodyguards were loitering downstairs. When they saw Ning Shu, they immediately pulled out their guns vigilantly. In a flash, Ning Shu appeared behind the 2 of them and knocked them out with a single strike. The 2 bodyguards fell to the ground. Ning Shu dragged them to the lawn, which was surrounded by neatly trimmed evergreen trees. Ning Shu hurried upstairs. He opened the door and said to Mother Su, "Mom, let's go." "What's wrong?" Ning Shu packed 2 pieces of clothing and stuffed them in his bag. Then he dragged Mother Su out the door. Mother Su was baffled as Ning Shu shoved her into the taxi with a confused look on her face. "What's going on?" Mother Su asked Ning Shu, who was closing the door. "I'll tell you later," Ning Shu said. "Let's go to the station." Ning Shu had bought a plane ticket, but she didn't plan to take the plane. If Gong Rong found a flight, it would be best to find it at the airport. She wouldn't go to the airport anyway. The taxi took them to the station. Mother Su got out and saw Ning Shu's serious face. She asked, "Did something happen? You're making me nervous." "I'll explain it to you. Get in the car first." Ning Shu pulled Mother Su onto the bus. They were going to stay in the next city for a while. "How should I explain this?" Ning Shu was stared at by Mother Su. He didn't know what to say or where to start. Anyway, this was really fucking weird. Last time, a young lady from the Gong family died. "The Gong family said I killed her," Ning Shu said. "I didn't kill anyone. I can only hide for now." Mother Su rubbed her head. "Why is there no end to this? Didn't you change your identity?" Identity was nothing. Today, he could be called Zhang San. Tomorrow, he could be called Li Si. Ning Shu browsed the news on his phone. It was reported that Gong Rong had passed away not long after she left the hospital. Gong Rong was dead. Ning Shu took a deep breath and asked 2333 in his heart, "Gong Rong is dead. Did he become a quest taker?" "No," 2333 replied. "Did it become a system?" "Nope." Ning Shu let out a long sigh of relief. As long as he didn't become a system quest taker, everything was fine. That means he has entered the cycle of reincarnation. Ning Shu patted his chest. First, there was Zhang Jiasen as a mission enforcer, and then there was Cheng Fei as a system. If Gong Rong was added, Ning Shu felt that he could die. No, she wouldn't give up so easily. Maybe he has entered the cycle of reincarnation, or maybe he hasn't. 2333 said. Ning Shu said coldly, "What do you mean? If you can't tell me what's good for you, I'll fucking kill you." Mission enforcers are just mission enforcers and the system. There are other professions too. It's like a company. There are many positions. Ning Shu was speechless. If it's a company, I think the company we're in now should be closed down. It took in anyone. Mission enforcers also form a social system. For example, the things in the market system must be made by someone to exchange for points, merits, and faith. All roads lead to Rome. He didn't become a mission enforcer or a system, but it doesn't mean that he won't become something else. 2333 said. Some people specialize in one path and reach the top. Ning Shu rolled his eyes and snorted. I don't want an answer that makes me unhappy. After Gong Rong's death, Gong Yi, Gong Rong's new successor, quickly held a press conference to confirm his position. Ning Shu let out a sigh of relief. Gong Yi looked very young. SR Group would definitely be in chaos for a while. It was hard to say if Gong Yi could hold on to his position. Ning Shu even suspected that Gong Yi was Gong Rong's successor on the surface, but he could also be a whetstone for Gong Rong. After all, No one knew what Gong Rong was thinking, especially since Gong Rong had paved the way for her sister for so long. No matter how he looked at it, it wasn't a simple matter. But none of this had anything to do with Ning Shu. As long as the fire didn't burn her, it was fine. As for the title of Mrs. Gong, she had no legal relationship with Gong Rong. Ning Shu and Mother Su found a place to stay in the next city and waited for the storm to blow over. Gong Rong was already a dead person. A dead person had no human rights. Now that she was alive, she only wanted to fight for fame and fortune. No one cared about how Gong Rong died. Sometimes, Gong Rong's death was used to attack the trusted leader, Gong Yi. In fact, many people suspected that Gong Yi killed Gong Rong. But there was no evidence. Ning Shu watched the fire burn across the river. She was already a dead person anyway. Now she was using Su Chen's name. Ning Shu was worried about Mother Su's operation. It was really full of twists and turns. Something would happen every time. He didn't know when the operation would be. Mother Su, on the other hand, was worried about Ning Shu. Do you think they'll find us? They won't. The Gong sisters were already dead. The incident on the island was already over. The higher-ups of SR Group earned millions every minute. They fought for fame and fortune. How could they have the time to care about her? There was basically no chance for them to meet in the future. They were not in the same circle. Ning Shu really wanted to find a beautiful place to live with Mother Su. There was no thrilling, only a plain life. Not everyone could withstand turbulence, especially if they had nothing on them. They couldn't withstand any turbulence at all. Some people said that it was better to die brilliantly than to live a mediocre life. Ning Shu would rather live a plain life and watch the clouds move by than die brilliantly. Sometimes, living was a luxury. It's okay. Nothing will happen. Don't worry, Ning Shu said casually. Mother Su stared at Ning Shu and said, "Why don't you just get married? You're not young anymore. Why haven't you found a partner?" Ning Shu, this topic was a bit too big. Ning Shu said, "Don't worry. There will always be someone waiting for me." Waiting for me? Mother Su, the king of hell? My heart hurts, Mum. Mother Su just felt that if she got married, she would at least have someone to rely on. But Ning Shu didn't have such thoughts. Ning Shu was still very cautious about marriage. The responsibility of marriage and the harmony of the family. Especially when she married with such thoughts. Besides, she didn't like who she was getting married to. When Mother Su had the surgery and was a little healthier, she would leave. What happened in the future was none of her business. After that, Ning Shu had been paying attention to SR Group's affairs. Unsurprisingly, Gong Yi couldn't be compared to those old foxes. The older, the wiser. Gong Yi couldn't even take care of himself, let alone come to Ning Shu. Especially since his aunt didn't get anything, and there was no legal relationship. The hospital informed Mother Su to be hospitalized, saying that the kidney had been confirmed. Once the kidney arrived, the surgery could be done immediately. Ning Shu hoped that Mother Su would have the surgery. After all, if she missed it, who knew when the next time would be? Originally, she had thought about it. Chapter 1566. Mother Su gave up on the operation. No need. You've been through so much because of my illness. Forget it. I'm afraid you'll be in danger when we go back. Please search, Yen, for the most complete information. The fastest update. Ning Shu decided to go to the hospital first. If it was really a trap, she would take Mother Su abroad for medical treatment. She would also study abroad. Mother Su grabbed Ning Shu. No, I think I'm much better now. If something happens to you, I'd rather be sick like this. Ning Shu was speechless. Now, Mother Su had really become a frightened bird. Ning Shu said that she would sneak back to take a look. Maybe they didn't care about them at all. They were the only ones who were trembling in fear. They were like ants. Would people waste their energy looking for ants that had been bitten? It wasn't worth it. Ning Shu went to the hospital and asked the attending doctor. The news was true. Since it was true, she would do it. The hospital arranged for Mother Su to stay in the hospital. Ning Shu comforted her. It's okay. Don't worry. Ning Shu went to pay the money. More than half of the pension had been used up. After that, Mother Sue still had to take medicine. The money wasn't enough. Mother Sue stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks and was then pushed into the operating room. Ning Shu waited at the door of the operating room. After almost half a day, Mother Sue finally came out. The operation was successful. Ning Shu let out a long sigh. Mother Sue's 2 bad kidneys had been removed. Now they had a good one. Mother Sue had to take good care of her body in the future. She couldn't do heavy work and had to take medicine. Ning Shu had been wary of the people from SR Group, but during the operation, they didn't come to her at all. That was what they were afraid of. Ning Shu was relieved to let Mother Sue stay in the hospital for a while. After being discharged, she went home to rest for a long time. Ning Shu told Mother Sue about going abroad. Mother Sue said that she wanted to go with Ning Shu to take care of her. Mother Sue was very uneasy and felt that it was better to go with them. Besides, her daughter needed someone to take care of her when she went to study. Mother Sue and Ning Shu took their passports and boarded the plane to fly abroad. Quest complete. Do you wish to leave the quest world? 2333's voice appeared in Ning Shu's mind. Ning Shu looked at the clouds outside the window and felt bitter in his heart. He didn't find the source of this world again. It was already not easy to complete the mission. World origin, where are you? Leave. Ning Shu felt dizzy and returned to the system space. His soul felt terrible. Right now, his soul was very weak. When he transmigrated, it was fucking terrible. Ning Shu first sat down cross-legged and began cultivating, absorbing the pure soul power. However, after absorbing for a while, the soul power disappeared. Ning Shu opened his eyes and looked at his soul. Sigh, it's not enough, it's not enough. Ning Shu sighed. Such a thin soul. No matter how he looked at it, it didn't seem like the soul of a super mission enforcer. Ning Shu helplessly opened his attribute panel and looked at his gains. Name, Ning Shu. Age, 27 level, Super Mission Enforcer Points card. 108, 10 million points for 1 point card. Soul value, 2 health value, 1 wisdom, 1 charm, 1 spirit, 1 martial strength, 2 aptitude, 2 faith, 42,000 merit, 15,260, 30 law understanding, none skills. 5th ring shooting technique, intermediate close combat technique, exceptional martial arts proficiency, intermediate poison technique, beginner business management knowledge, beginner code programming, beginner lawyer skill, sage ghost catching skill, beginner cooking skill, beginner embroidery skill. Honorary titles, Goddess of War, Selfless Ancestor Tools, Calm Aura, Calming Pill, Faith Aura, Amulet 4, Upgraded Amulet 2 Aura, Mother of the World, Queen's Blessing, Sister Model Worker, Qinshi's Blessing, Leader Aura, Grass Blessing, Best Friend for Life, Miao Miao Miao's Blessing, Life-Saving Hand, Zhu Su Nyang's Blessing, Founding Woman, Chen Ermiai's Blessing, Beauty-in-Law, Chen Ning's Blessing, Bane of the Blood Clan, Jasmine's Blessing, Transcending Race Communication, Bai San Yang's Blessing, Heart of the Brave, Wang Ying's Blessing, Fulfill Su Xian's Wish, Survive on the island and cure her mother's illness. Mission completion rate, 95%. Received 5 points, 3 attribute points, 5,000 faith, including the accumulation from the previous world, and 60% of the soul power. Ning Shu was speechless. This 60% of the soul power referred to 60% of the soul that the client gave. Ning Shu asked, "Where did the other 40% go?" "It's taken away. Before you became a super mission enforcer, you could only get 30% of the soul power. Now the mission will distribute the soul power according to your completion rate. Half of it is 50/50ths. 2333 explained. When 2333 said this, she felt like she was a worker being exploited. Especially since there were too many mission enforcers, the amount of soul power they could gather was simply terrifying. What about the remaining 10%? Ning Shu asked. I have an unshakable 10%, this is my benefit. 2333 said. Most likely, the rest of the soul power was taken away by the higher-ups. Now at least she knew the proportion of the soul power she received, unlike before where she was blinded. Was this the benefit of becoming a super mission enforcer, knowing how much she was being exploited? Ning Shu added the attribute points and prepared to go to the law space to comprehend the law. Name, Ning Shu. Age, 27 level, Super Mission Enforcer points card, 108, 10 million points for 1 point card. Soul, 2 HP, 1 Wisdom, 11 Charm, 1 Spirit, 11 Martial Strength, 21 Aptitude, 2 Faith, 42000500 Merit, 15230 Soul Strength, 20 Law Comprehension, none Skills, 5th Ring Shooting Technique, Intermediate Close Combat Technique, Exceptional Martial Arts Proficiency, Intermediate Poison Technique, Beginner Business Management Knowledge, Beginner Code Programming, Beginner Lawyer Skill, Sage Ghost Catching Skill, Beginner Cooking Skill, Beginner Embroidery Skill. Honorary titles, Goddess of War, Selfless Ancestor Items, Calm Aura, Calming Pill, Faith Aura, Amulet 4, Upgraded Amulet 2 Aura, Mother of the World, Queen's Blessing, Model Worker, Qinshi's Blessing, Leader Aura, Grass Blessing, Lifelong Friend, Miao Miao Miao's Blessing, Life-Saving Hand, Zhu Su Nyang's Blessing, Founding General, Qin Ermiai's Blessing, Beauty-in-Law, Qin Ning's Blessing, Bane of the Blood Clan, Jasmine's Blessing, Cross-Race Communication, Bai Sanyang's Blessing, Brave Heart, Wang Ying's Blessing. Ning Shu saw that there was an extra soul strength in the attribute window. Her soul strength was only 20. Ning Shu asked 2333, what's 20 soul strength? Originally from #/ Chapter 1567. A soul strength of 20 points was a bit shabby, very shabby. Ning Shu felt that if it was her previous soul strength, it would definitely be more than 20. Sigh, a real man doesn't boast about his past achievements. 2333 was silent for a moment. It's equivalent to your soul when you became an intermediate mission taker. High-level planes, super planes have stable laws and walls. With your current soul state, it will be so uncomfortable when you teleport. Moreover, your soul is too weak. It's easy to be controlled by the residual emotions in your body. 2333 said. Ning Shu wiped her face. How long has it been since she was affected by the residual emotions in her body? Now her configuration can't keep up. She used so much soul strength in exchange for the opportunity to enter the space of laws. If she gave up on the super mission trial, she would lose the opportunity to enter the space of laws forever. In general, there are gains and losses. Ning Shu asked 2333, what law do you think I should learn first? Don't be too ambitious. There are not many people who can learn this kind of law. It's very lethal, but it's very difficult to learn. Out of 100,000 mission takers, there might not be one who can learn it. Learn some laws of water and fire first. These laws can solve some basic problems, such as making a fire and drinking water. Ning Shu was speechless. No one doesn't want to learn high-level laws, but the laws of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth are not simple. It's not easy to learn. 2333's voice was full of contempt. Don't underestimate any law. Ning Shu scratched her head. Then let's go to the city of water. First, learn the law of water. Water has the most forms, solid, liquid, gaseous, and endless changes. And there are many kinds of water, weak water, heavy water, various kinds of water with various characteristics. Ning Shu felt that if she could control the law of water, if there was no water to drink in the desert in the future, she could get some water to drink and she wouldn't die. Ning Shu stood at the entrance of the passage. During the teleportation process, Ning Shu felt really uncomfortable. Her soul was too weak. If it was in the past, it would be in the blink of an eye. Now, Ning Shu felt like a dough that was being kneaded here and there. When he stood on the blue stone, Ning Shu felt very weak, as if his body had been hollowed out. Ning Shu looked at his surroundings. The layout of the water city and the time city were exactly the same. Ning Shu even thought that he had arrived at the time city. The blue stone slab had very faint laws. When Ning Shu stepped on it, he felt as if he was stepping on water. Even her soul had become incomparably moist. Ning Shu felt that this city of water was very humid, and even his soul was stained with water vapor. It was as if he was sweating in the summer, but the sweat didn't dry and stuck to his body. He felt terrible. Ning Shu looked at the souls that brushed past her. Their souls were very strong, and some of them looked like real people. He should be a very powerful super taskmaster. Ning Shu's weak voice attracted the attention of many people. Those who could enter this place were all super taskmasters. It was probably because Ning Shu's soul was too weak that he could appear here. It was very strange. Ning Shu stared at the weak soul and planned to go to the restaurant to eat something first. The things in the restaurant were very expensive. It was unlike the virtual space where he could eat a lot of things with points. The things here were rare and expensive. They were all paid with merit and faith. Ning Shu ordered a snack that could make Ning Shu more resilient. It looked like a cupcake, but it cost 15 points of faith. Ning Shu was speechless. So evil. He felt that this world was full of malice. Ning Shu ate the snack slowly with a fork and looked at the people around him. These people were all here to comprehend the laws of water. Ning Shu didn't leave the city. If he went out, he would definitely be destroyed by the laws of water. Ning Shu sat by the window of the restaurant and felt the fluctuating laws under his feet. Just the laws of this city were too much for him. He couldn't even resist these laws, let alone comprehend them. Ning Shu felt invisible water flowing over her feet, then her ankles, then her calves, knees, waist. There was no water, but Ning Shu clearly felt that water was drowning her soul. It had already reached her heart. It was slowly submerging her neck. Ning Shu's heart couldn't help but feel panic. The panic of drowning. Ning Shu couldn't even control her instincts and wanted to flop. However, the water still flooded Ning Shu's nose and mouth and went over her head. Ning Shu was clearly in a spiritual state, but she felt like she was drowning. She couldn't vent her anger. She was drowning. Her soul was so heavy that it seemed to be pulled by something. It was so painful, so painful. Ning Shu felt that her soul was going to turn into water. Ning Shu saw that the others looked normal. They were eating and drinking as usual. There was nothing wrong with them. Hang in there. If you want to comprehend the law of water, you have to adapt to it. Turn yourself into water. Only then can you comprehend the law of water, 2333 said. Ning Shu wanted 2333 to teleport her back. She had no power now. She was like a normal person who was about to drown. When she heard 2333 say that, Ning Shu could only grit her teeth and endure. Her lungs were so swollen that they were about to explode. Ning Shu endured like that. In the end, her mind was muddled. She lay on the table and lost consciousness. Ning Shu, who was sleeping, felt very comfortable. She was floating, warm and comfortable. When Ning Shu woke up, she felt that the suffocating feeling was gone. Ning Shu heaved a long sigh of relief. She still had lingering fear, helplessness and despair. Her body felt much more comfortable, and the sticky feeling was gone. Her soul was refreshed. What happened just now? Ning Shu asked 2333. 2333 said, "It's just a little bit. It's negligible. If you can't even adapt to this, you can forget about going out of the city to comprehend the law of water." Basically, everyone who comes here for the first time will experience the feeling of drowning. Some people can endure it while others can't. Everything was difficult at the beginning. Ning Shu felt that the road ahead was long. This was just the city. There were surging law of water outside the city. It could drown her in an instant. If she couldn't even endure or adapt to the law of water, she couldn't even comprehend it. Just the law of water was already like this, let alone the high-level law of time and law of space. Ning Shu held her head. Oh my God. Comprehension depended on talent. Some people comprehended it instantly. It was better than others who had comprehended it for tens or hundreds of thousands of years. It was really hopeless. No wonder Mei Ziqing became a super mission taker before her and still couldn't comprehend the law of water. Damn. She was in a bad mood. Ning Shu ordered some snacks. She spent 30 faith power to buy 2 pastries. Comprehension didn't depend on hard work. Sometimes she couldn't comprehend it even if she racked her brains. Ning Shu knelt down to those mission takers who could comprehend the law of water. Originally, she thought. Chapter 1568. Ning Shu ate the pastry with a fork and calmed down. This kind of thing can't be rushed. Please search #for the most complete, the fastest update. Comprehending the laws wasn't something that could be done in a day or two. If she couldn't comprehend it in a day, she still had endless life, as long as she wasn't erased. Ning Shu wasn't in a hurry at all. Calming down was the key. One step won't get you to the sky. Today was the first time he saw the laws. Oh, it wasn't really seen, but he really felt 1/10,000th of the power. Ning Shu finished the pastry on the table and said to 2333, "Let's go back." Ning Shu was kneaded like dough again and returned to the system space. Ning Shu exchanged for fasting pills, water, and medicine from the system store. Ning Shu looked at the round medicine in his hand. These things were made by people. Ning Shu browsed through the system store. There were a lot of things, from small things like chairs and sofas to big things like space transactions. These were all made by people. Ning Shu thought about it and felt that Gong Rong might not be reincarnated. What if she was taken in by someone? After exchanging for what he needed, Ning Shu exchanged for another shelf and then took out a book. Ning Shu liked to read this kind of book because it was old. Someone didn't want it and then gathered it together. Some of the books even had someone's handwriting. Some of the content was still very beneficial to Ning Shu. In addition, Ning Shu's memory was now very good. If he couldn't remember it the first time, he could remember it the second time. Ning Shu finished reading and put it on the shelf, then took a deep breath and said cheerfully, "I'm going to do a quest." Do a quest, find the origin of the world, and then comprehend the laws. Ning Shu's eyes curved into crescents as she smiled. Life was really fulfilling. One day, she would be able to comprehend the laws, be able to build a world, and become a strong person. Ning Shu didn't want to control the fate of others, but her own fate. If she wanted to live, she would live. If she wanted to die, she would die. Not if others wanted her to die, she would die. If she wanted to live, others would let her die. All right. 2333 said, "The fusion of the soul orb should be almost complete. Soon, you will be able to meet the client." Ning Shu looked at the small black hole on the wall. It was already very small. It looked like the fusion was about to be completed. Now entering the quest. As soon as 2333's voice faded, Ning Shu disappeared from the system space. Fuck, I forgot to ask her if she should do the system quest. 2333 said angrily. Ning Shu felt as if he had fused with a body. When he woke up, he had a terrible headache. He was sitting in front of his computer. The computer was still open. He was probably doing work reports. Ning Shu rubbed his forehead. What a headache. When Ning Shu stood up from the chair, his footsteps were weak, as if he was stepping on cotton. Ning Shu poured some water from the water dispenser. After drinking some water, he felt a little better. He scalded himself on the bed and felt a little more comfortable. Ning Shu supported his heavy body and sat cross-legged on the bed. He began to cultivate and accept the plot. Ning Shu was cultivating while accepting the plot. However, when he received the plot, Ning Shu was petrified. His mouth was open and he was stunned. This was a world that Ning Shu had never seen before. Even if Ning Shu had seen a lot of things and felt that he had seen everything in the world. However, this world had turned Ning Shu's worldview to ashes. Yes, the client was called Duan Shui. She was a white-collar worker in a company. She was staying up late last night to do a project. Staying up late exhausted her body. Duan Shui was just one of the many living beings in this world. However, this world was quite strange and salty. To what extent? Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu was speechless. Su Hongyuan was a programmer. The main character of this world was Su Hongyuan's, a little tadpole. That's right, a little tadpole. Su Hongyuan was a single dog. He was almost 30 years old. His looks were average and not outstanding. However, he wasn't ugly to the point of being hated by the heavens. One day, he went to donate his sperm but was told by the doctor that he didn't meet the standards. Su Hongyuan was angry at that time. He could fuck. How could he not meet the standards? The doctor brought Su Hongyuan to see his little tadpoles. Other men had many and lively little tadpoles. They swam around happily and were full of vitality. Su Hongyuan only had one or two and they looked like they were dying. It seemed that he couldn't make it. Su Hongyuan was speechless. He never knew that he was an azoospermia patient. Su Hongyuan scratched his head. What should he do? He still had to carry on the family line and marry a wife. He still had to warm the bed with his wife and children. In the spirit of scientific research, the doctor said that a new drug had been developed recently. However, it was new and he didn't know what side effects it would have. However, it could make the little tadpoles more energetic and increase the number of little tadpoles. Su Hongyuan decided to eat it. 2 days later, Su Hongyuan felt a pain in his balls. It was really a pain in his balls. Moreover, Su Hongyuan's little brother couldn't control himself when he looked at the erotic things. His balls hurt even more. When he saw the cleavage of a beautiful woman on the subway, his balls hurt. When he saw the new female colleague in the company, she was pouting her butt and pouring water, his balls hurt even more. Su Hongyuan hurriedly went to find the doctor. The doctor said that if he felt uncomfortable, he could fuck it out. He also gave Su Hongyuan an indescribable magazine and asked him to use it. Su Hongyuan was fucking in the toilet. Then he let out a tragic scream. The doctor went in to take a look. Su Hongyuan passed the cup to the doctor. When the doctor saw it, he was so scared that he threw the cup away. A finger-sized tadpole was shaking its head on the ground. The doctor stepped on the tadpole. With a squeak, the tadpole exploded. White pulp burst out. I have to do some research. I think the drug's effects are too strong. That's why it grew so big. This matter was considered to be over. Su Hongyuan went on a blind date. The blind date was a beautiful girl. Su Hongyuan's crotch bulged again. When he sent the girl home, he couldn't help but run to the girl's toilet. After venting for a while, a small tadpole came out. This small tadpole was first the size of a finger. Then it grew to the size of a fist. Su Hongyuan panicked and grabbed the small tadpole and stuffed it into the toilet bowl. In the end, this thing grew bigger and pushed open the toilet bowl lid. The small tadpole was white. It even grew black and yellow sharp teeth and eyes. It was a monster. It directly rushed out of the toilet and swam on the ground. Seeing this strange creature, the girl was scared to death and fell to the ground. But the small tadpole swam and actually drilled between the girl's legs. A small tadpole the size of a football drilled into the woman's body. The scene was really disgusting and horrifying. Luckily, Su Hongyuan's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. He grabbed the small tadpole's tail and pulled it out, throwing it out of the window. Then this strange creature wandered around the city and killed people. The goal of the giant spirit was to get fertilized. Its attack method was to drill into a woman's body. How could a woman withstand it? It was simply too disgusting. Originally, it was self-inflicted. Chapter 1569. This alien grew bigger and bigger until it became a huge monster. It killed people and destroyed the city. Everywhere it went, it turned into ruins. The alien traveled through the city. When it saw a woman, it would drill into her body and swallow her. Duan Shui was a member of this city. The alien destroyed the city and Duan Shui wasn't spared. This thing drilled into her leg. Duan Shui was a woman. It was hard for her to imagine that this thing would drill into her body from below. This was really a case of sitting at home and disaster fell from the sky. The client, Duan Shui, was also a proud girl. She worked hard and stayed up all night just to buy a house in this city. It wasn't easy for her to gather enough money for the down payment. Then she died. She was very unwilling. This matter couldn't be said to be anyone's fault. Su Hongyuan's little tadpole mutated under the effect of the drug. He also didn't expect such a situation. But the city was destroyed. Many people died because of it. The economic losses were serious. Ning Shu suspected that he had entered a dream. An absurd and erotic dream that was only for the sake of stimulating the senses. Otherwise, how could such a situation occur? The client had no way to deal with the alien, and there was no way to survive this disaster. Even if the government used powerful weapons to destroy it in the end, it was because this thing caused a huge loss. Many people died, including the client. The client felt bitter in her heart. The money in her card. Her down payment. Her house. Her lifelong goal was to take root in this prosperous city and have a house of her own. The veins on Ning Shu's forehead throbbed. His head hurt from staying up all night. Ning Shu took out 2 painkillers from the bedside drawer and took them. Calculating the time, Su Hongyuan should have taken the medicine by now. Although Su Hongyuan didn't do it on purpose, it caused such a situation. In the end, what made people speechless was that Su Hongyuan and the girl he trusted fell in love and were very happy. He didn't know what to say. Su Xian's wish was to live. Her wish to buy a house was really persistent. Ning Shu sat cross-legged. His hands formed seals and set up a yang gathering formation around the bed. He started to absorb the power of the yang fire. There was little spiritual energy in the modern world. Ning Shu could only absorb the power of the yang fire. As long as one had the strength, they would be able to survive. After cultivating for a while, Ning Shu closed his laptop, put it in his bag and went to work. This project was very important. The original owner had been busy with this for several days. If this proposal was approved, there would be a large sum of money. Today was the day to hand in the proposal. Even if the sky fell, Ning Shu had to go. Even after taking painkillers, Ning Shu still felt light as he was squeezed into the subway. There were no more seats on the subway. Ning Shu grabbed the handrail and decided to take a short nap. The apartment rented by the client was quite far from the company. Ning Shu narrowed his eyes and felt a pair of hands touching and pinching his buttocks. There was a sea of people on the subway. Everyone was very close to each other. It was normal for there to be physical contact. But it wasn't normal for his hands to touch her like this. Ning Shu opened his eyes. "Get your dirty hands off me, or you'll be handcuffed." Ning Shu's voice was neither loud nor soft. The people standing next to Ning Shu could hear it. The hands touching her buttocks disappeared immediately. On the contrary, Ning Shu attracted a lot of strange gazes. Ning Shu turned a blind eye to this kind of gaze. Why didn't he say that he was hurt? Even if he was being looked at strangely, he would let the person who touched her receive such a gaze. There was no need to let her bear it alone and let the molester enjoy it. As soon as the person who molested Ning Shu arrived at the station, he hurriedly got off the subway. The person sitting in front of Ning Shu and reading the newspaper put down the newspaper. Ning Shu said, "Sit down." This person had been using the newspaper to cover his face. He didn't know if he was reading the newspaper or resting. He didn't even look at what had happened just now, nor did he watch. Ning Shu and the man were stunned at the same time. Duan Shui. Wenxing? This was a coincidence. According to the client's memory, this Wenxing was an employee of another department and they didn't have much interaction. Wenxing stood up. "Sit down." Then he stood in Ning Shu's seat and grabbed the handle. Ning Shu didn't stand on ceremony. He sat down and said, "Thank you. I didn't know that we were going the same way." Wenxing put away the newspaper. Wenxing was a man of few words. In addition, the two of them didn't have much interaction at work, so they weren't very familiar with each other. Ning Shu leaned against the back of the chair and looked at Wenxing. Ning Shu felt that Wenxing was different from the Wenxing in the client's memory. Although his face was ordinary, he had a gentle feeling. He was neither arrogant nor impatient, making people ignore his mediocre face. Temperament was really hard to say. Ning Shu felt that Wenxing was not the Wenxing of the past. Wenxing's eyes met with Ning Shu's. There was a clear stream flowing through his eyes. For a moment, Ning Shu saw another face on his face. It was really not the original Wenxing. "Why are you looking at me?" Wenxing asked Ning Shu. Ning Shu said, "You've changed?" Wenxing's face was calm. "I've always been like this. How do you know that I've changed?" He was biting on words like this. Ning Shu flipped his hair and said with a smile, "As someone who wants to take root in this city, I know every local man in the company. If the client wanted to take root in this city, one was either to buy a house and become a resident of this city, or to marry a local. The client insisted on buying a house by herself. First, she had to make the down payment and then pay the mortgage every month. This way, she would have the foundation to establish herself and her own assets. Duan Shui, who had been struggling like this, knew that material things weren't everything. But only when material things were satisfied could there be spiritual enjoyment. Only when one was well-fed could one think about marrying a local man. This was also under the condition that she had assets. In particular, this city was very prosperous. The local residents had a sense of superiority and looked down on foreigners. Duan Shui hadn't been in a relationship for a long time. It was a waste of time and, most importantly, a waste of money. Even if there was a man who paid the bill, who knew what would happen in the end? Ning Shu was very convinced by Duan Shui. Duan Shui only had money in her mind. She had to write down all her expenses in a small notebook. However, Duan Shui was a fashionable white-collar worker in the city. She bought expensive classic clothes and matched them like this. The clothes had a good texture. Instead of buying cheap clothes that didn't have any clothes that could hold the scene, it was better to buy more expensive clothes. Every goddess lived a hard life, especially the hard-working and beautiful goddesses, who were even more amazing. Only then would you look like you could accomplish anything easily. When Wenxing heard Ning Shu's words, a look of surprise flashed across his face. He just said, "I am me. Who else can I be?" Ning Shu didn't expose anything. As long as it didn't affect her mission, it was fine. Chapter 1570. Ning Shu rolled her eyes. This guy might also be a mission enforcer. As long as there was no conflict, Ning Shu wouldn't care. After sitting on the subway for more than an hour, they finally reached the platform. After leaving the subway station, they still had to walk some distance to reach the company. Ning Shu and Wenxing went to the company on the way. Ning Shu looked at Wenxing from the corner of her eyes. He was carrying a briefcase, wearing a suit, and looked like he was following her every step. Ning Shu felt that he had the leisurely and romantic temperament of a scholar from the Wei and Jin dynasties. This style wasn't the style of a romantic, but rather a style of elegance that was reserved and refined. "Hey, your temperament is too obvious. Anyone can feel that something is wrong." Wenxing stopped. When he turned around, he didn't turn his head, nor did he twist his body. Instead, he first moved his feet and turned his body with his feet. This was the first time Ning Shu saw such a gentle man. But when she thought of the small tadpole alien, Ning Shu couldn't help but look at Wenxing's indescribable part. A man who took that kind of drug could get a giant tadpole? Oh my god. Even if Ning Shu was standing in front of a man who was peerless in the world, beautiful to the point of anger, handsome to the point of exploding the heavens, blah 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 blah. It couldn't get rid of the cold feeling in Ning Shu's heart, especially when that thing drilled into the mission enforcer's body and used its sharp teeth to bite the body. So disgusting, Wenxing naturally used his briefcase to block his part, blocking Ning Shu's gaze. "I'm leaving first." Wenxing turned around and left. Ning Shu shrugged her shoulders and rushed past Wenxing in her high heels. "Fuck, I'm going to be late, I have to use my life to clock in." Wenxing stopped, looked at Ning Shu's back, and said helplessly, "I was recognized again." Wenxing didn't know why he was always recognized when he was doing missions. He felt that he was already very careful, speaking less, and doing his best to follow the mission enforcer's actions. But in his mission career, he was always on the road of being recognized. If there were no conflicts, it would be fine, but if there were conflicts, it would be very unfavorable for him. Some people said that he wasn't suitable to be a mission enforcer, because his personal style was too strong. Wenxing didn't run as fast as Ning Shu, but he wasn't slow either. Ning Shu punched his card and he did the same. While waiting for the elevator, Ning Shu looked at him from the corner of his eye. To be able to appear in a high-level plane or a superplane, one had to be a super mission taker. With a ding, the elevator door opened. Wenxing was one step behind Ning Shu as he entered the elevator. He was a gentlemanly and warm man. However, a warm man was also cold. He treated everyone the same. Being warm was just a way to reject people. The elevator was packed with people, And there was also the smell of scallion pancakes. This was a big company. If they wanted to stand out among so many people, they had to work harder. There was also the matter of dealing with interpersonal relationships. Wherever there were people, there would be conflicts. Even in the office, there was danger. If he was lenient, he would just pack up his things and leave. He might even be sued. It was definitely not wrong to be cautious. Ning Shu and Wenxing tacitly didn't ask about each other's identities. They were like ordinary colleagues, cold and distant. When they reached the office, Ning Shu first made a few copies of his proposal and then printed them out. He had to protect his own things well. Ning Shu stapled the printed things one by one. This way, he wouldn't be flustered when he was busy. Then, he put it in the drawer and locked it. Ning Shu glanced at the calendar on the table. It was the 13th. In 2 days, the client would die. That thing should be wandering around the city now. If it wasn't hiding in the grass, it would be in the gutter. It would become bigger and bigger in the future. The client was attacked when he got off work. Sure enough, it was interested in women and liked to burrow into women's bodies. Just thinking about it gave Ning Shu goosebumps uncontrollably. It was like chopping off a penis. Everything would be over once and for all. When the director said that it was time to submit the proposal, Ning Shu took it out of the drawer and handed it in. After a period of busy work, it was a little more leisurely. The colleague sitting opposite Ning Shu stood up and said to Ning Shu, "There's been a pervert recently. Have you seen the news?" Ning Shu grunted. "What news?" The girl leaned closer to Ning Shu and said, "The news said that there's a pervert who specializes in attacking women and the girl walked around the table and leaned close to Ning Shu's ear and said, "He attacked a girl's lower body and ruined it beyond recognition." Ning Shu was speechless. It's not just her lower body. Even her body is ruined. The more the girl spoke, the paler her face became. Ning Shu saw that the fine hair on her face was standing up. Ning Shu was speechless. He didn't even want to eat lunch. Ning Shu thought that since she was Su Hongyuan's little tadpole, she should have Su Hongyuan's genes. Why didn't the police investigate Su Hongyuan? Although Su Hongyuan didn't do it on purpose, his actions caused a huge storm. Many innocent people died because of him. In the end, nothing happened to Su Hongyuan. It was really difficult to calm down. During lunch, Ning Shu looked at the work meal and had no appetite at all. He picked up his chopsticks and poked at the rice. Ning Shu was worried that he would have a psychological barrier if he didn't like men in the future. After this incident, Ning Shu decided that he would cut his balls together in the future. Ning Shu drank a mouthful of soup and immediately thought of stepping on it and splashing it far away. Ning Shu choked on the soup and couldn't swallow it. Then he saw Wenxing sitting opposite him with a tray. Ning Shu opened his mouth and the soup flowed out. Ning Shu spat the soup on the tray. He really couldn't eat, especially when he saw Wenxing approaching. Wenxing was speechless. He lost his appetite too. Ning Shu wiped his mouth with a tissue and asked, "Why are you looking for me?" Wenxing pushed the tray aside and looked at Ning Shu. "Since we both know in our hearts, my goal is to destroy that thing and protect as many people as possible. A city has been destroyed and so many people have died. It has a great impact on the plane. It's fine if the buildings are destroyed. What's important is the people." Ning Shu nodded. "Okay, our goal is the same." Wenxing nodded. "We can work together. Happy working together." Wenxing reached out his hand to shake Ning Shu's. Ning Shu stared at Wenxing's hand. Then he touched it with his fingertip and immediately retracted it. Wenxing was stunned. "Are you afraid of me?" "No, I'm afraid that the men in this world can squeeze out giant tadpoles." "Wenxing, our first task now is to find the opposite sex and get rid of it before it causes more damage and kills more people," Wenxing said unhurriedly and clearly. Ning Shu clearly saw the halo of a Holy Father rise above Wenxing's head. Chapter 1571. A mission enforcer whose heart was filled with love. However, just having love in one's heart was not enough to reach this step. There had to be a matching strength. Where should we start looking? Ning Shu supported her chin. It should like to attack crowded and dark places, such as bars. Wenxing was silent for a moment before saying, "My luck has always been good. Maybe we can find it." Ning Shu looked at Wenxing silently and then rolled her eyes. She hated people with good luck. "Wenxing, what's wrong with this little girl?" Wenxing pushed his lunchbox in front of Ning Shu. "You can't eat yours." "Do you mind? I didn't touch it." Ning Shu waved her hand. "No need." She didn't want to eat fried bean sprouts. Wenxing hesitated for a moment before asking, "You still want to eat yours?" "Ning Shu, I don't have an appetite." Ning Shu put her hand under the table and a fasting pill appeared in her palm. Ning Shu ate the fasting pill and her hunger finally disappeared. She also found another advantage of fasting pills. Other than saving time, one pill could last for a few days. Also, fasting pills could perfectly satisfy the body's needs when she felt nauseous and did not want to eat. "Then let's get off work together," Wenxing said to Ning Shu. "I want to ask you, what defense and attack methods do you have?" Before Wenxing could finish speaking, an earth-shattering scream erupted from the restaurant's kitchen. Wenxing immediately stood up and rushed to the kitchen. Ning Shu also quickly followed. In the kitchen, she saw something white and greasy drilling into a woman's leg. There was a long tail behind it. My eyes. The woman who was attacked by the tadpole was scared out of her wits. She didn't know how to react and was extremely frightened. The alien probably came from the sewers and opened the cover. Especially at the sink, the sewer cover had already been opened. Wenxing grabbed the alien's tail and used all his strength to throw the tadpole to the ground. With a smack, the tadpole hit the wet ground and made a squeaking sound. After a period of time, the tadpole grew bigger again. Its entire body was covered in a sticky liquid, which made people feel very disgusted. Even after being smashed to the ground by Wenxing, it did not die. It opened its mouth, revealing a dense array of yellowish-black fangs, and bit towards Wenxing. Ning Shu grabbed the stool and smashed it with all his might. However, Ning Shu's hands were numb from the impact. It was as if he had smashed a truck's tire. The force of the rebound caused his arms to go numb. The giant tadpole screeched and swam desperately, trying to get rid of Wenxing's control. The tadpole's body was covered in mucus, and it was slippery. The tadpole's strength was great, and it struggled to break free, wanting to escape into the sewers again. Obviously, he knew that these two people were not to be trifled with. His sperm's instinct was to swim non-stop and then combine. Ning Shu grabbed the stool, channeled his chi into his dantian, and smashed it on the little tadpole's head. Both of his hands were numb from the impact. The tadpole was in pain. It turned its head and rushed towards Ning Shu. Its tail swam like a snake. Wenxing grabbed the chopping board and shouted at the kitchen knife, "Ning Shu, get out of the way." The kitchen knife chopped down on the tadpole alien's head. White milk-like liquid splashed out, splashing onto Wenxing's face and clothes. The alien screeched. The kitchen knife was stuck in its body, and it crawled into the sewers. Now that the alien had escaped, Ning Shu's stomach was churning uncomfortably. It was too disgusting. There was no big and cute thing in this world. Its size had been magnified countless times, and it was terrifying. A creature that could only be seen under a microscope was now magnified countless times. Seeing this kind of thing, Ning Shu felt that his heart was very weak. Especially now that his soul power was weak, he was always affected by the residual emotions in his body. Seeing this thing, he felt disgusted, scared, and hateful. Ning Shu shook his numb arms. Both of his hands were shaking. Looking at the messy Wenxing, he silently backed away from him. Wenxing's body was covered in milky liquid. He used his hands to wipe his face. His hands were sticky. "Don't come near me. I'm afraid I'll get pregnant." Who knew if this was his thing? Everyone in the kitchen had run away. Only Ning Shu and Wenxing were left. Wenxing said, "Get some water and help me rinse it. I don't have colleagues to love." Ning Shu went around Wenxing, grabbed the hose on the ground, turned on the tap, and flushed Wenxing's body. Although Wenxing was wet, Ning Shu didn't want to look at him. She would never forget the scene of white milky liquid splashing on his body. It was too fucking memorable. Wenxing directly took off his shirt, revealing his thin body. He looked like a white chicken. It was obvious that Wenxing was a mission enforcer who could endure hardship. "Colleague, can you help me buy a set of clothes?" Wenxing asked Ning Shu as he took off his pants. Then Wenxing took off only a pair of underwear. Ning Shu was speechless. What elegant Wei and Jin Dynasty scholar. It was just an illusion. Ning Shu really wanted to kick between his legs. Maybe this place was pregnant with an alien. Ning Shu patted her face, threw away the hose, and went out to buy clothes for Wenxing. There were a lot of people gathered at the entrance of the restaurant. Seeing Ning Shu come out, they quickly asked, "Duan Shui, what was that just now? Was it a mouse? Have you ever seen a mouse that's so big and doesn't have legs? Hurry up and call the police. Say that there's an unknown creature attacking people." Ning Shu said and went out of the company to the clothing store to buy clothes. Wenxing was very thin. He didn't have any extra fat, but he also didn't have any muscles. Ning Shu casually bought some t-shirts and jeans. After thinking about it, he also brought a pair of underwear. Wenxing's whole body was wet. Ning Shu rolled his eyes and stuffed the underwear into the bag. He also took 2 towels. Well, he also took 2 bottles of disinfectant. Wenxing should peel off 2 layers of his skin so that he could wash himself clean. Ning Shu wasn't a clean freak, but in this case, he felt that it was better for Wenxing to reincarnate. Thinking about the liquid that rushed out of the alien's body. Sigh. Back at the company's restaurant, Ning Shu gave the bag to Wenxing. "Thank you." Wenxing thanked him. Ning Shu sat on the chair in the restaurant and looked at his hands. His hands couldn't stop shaking. Because he used too much force, the rebound force hurt. Wenxing put on his clothes and came out of the kitchen. Ning Shu said, "It ran away this time. It won't be easy to catch it again. This thing has rough skin and thick flesh." Ning Shu was really speechless. In the end, it would grow bigger than the house. If it knocked down the house, it could eat many people in one bite. It should eat a lot of people. Relying on the body's medicinal properties and the energy provided by people, it would grow bigger and bigger. Wenxing wanted to sit down, but Ning Shu immediately grabbed the chair and moved it back. "Have you used the disinfectant? Let's talk from a distance," Ning Shu said directly. Chapter 1572. All of Ning Shu's impressions of Wenxing were overwritten. He couldn't remember anything about being gentle. All he could think of was that his face was covered in milk. Only one thing was needed to destroy that impression. Wenxing was speechless. "You don't have to be so nervous. Those things should be nutrients, equivalent to human blood. It's not enough to get you pregnant," Wenxing said. Ning Shu was expressionless. He moved his lips. "Actually, I'm even more disgusted when you say that." Because of the incident at the restaurant, the employees were not in the right state of mind at work. Everyone was in a state of panic. Many people had seen that thing before. It was lunchtime and there were many people. At first, they were just there to join in the fun. But when they saw how powerful this thing was, they couldn't wait to run away. The police received a call and sent people over. They didn't know what the hell it was. But with so many people swearing that they found it, the police didn't know what to say. Since it was in the sewers, let the people who cleaned the sewers start investigating. Ning Shu felt that it was useless to let the people who cleaned the sewers investigate. This thing could crawl on land and was like a fish in water. Its speed was especially fast. Those sanitation workers were simply there to deliver food. Ning Shu said, "That thing has fangs, is very fast, and its skin is thick. Ordinary people definitely can't deal with it. It's better to send some capable people. At the very least, it should be a police officer with a gun." "I agree. That thing is really powerful. It was also very disgusting." Wenxing agreed with Ning Shu's words. The police frowned. For an unknown thing, they had to carry a gun. The police were looking for something in the sewers every day. Was the city still going to run? Besides, who would be willing to do such a thing? After the police left, Wenxing said lightly, "I rarely look for the police for missions because it's slow and I don't know how to be flexible. It's far less convenient than acting alone." Sometimes they even played a shady role. Not everyone was upright and selfless. I'm just saying. Although it doesn't help much, it won't be easy to shirk the responsibility in the future, Ning Shu said. They had already called the police. If anything happens, it's your own fault. What can you do? After work in the evening, Wen Xing, who was wearing a t-shirt and jeans, was waiting for Ning Shu at the entrance of the company. Let's go eat something first, then look for that thing. Wen Xing Ning Shu said. Ning Shu shook his head. I'm not eating. I've already eaten the fasting pill. Well, I don't need to eat either. I was worried that you would be hungry. Wen Xing seemed to be relieved. After being sprayed all over, Wen Xing had no appetite at all. He wasn't hungry at all. The city was already lit up with neon lights. It would be difficult to find an alien in such a big city. In particular, the city's sewers were crisscrossed and extremely complicated. Just thinking about it gave him a headache. Ning Shu wondered if he should activate the GPS system and spend 5 merit points to locate the alien. Aliens should be able to locate him, right? He didn't expect that he would have to locate a sperm. Just as Ning Shu was about to turn on the GPS, Wen Xing took out 3 copper coins and shook them in his hand before scattering them on the ground. Wen Xing squatted down and looked at the copper coin. Ning Shu squinted his eyes. Wen Xing was a fortune teller? Let's go southeast. Wen Xing kept the copper coin. Ning Shu asked, how far to the southeast and where exactly is it? As we walk, I will divine at the same time. The divination will tell us that the closer we are, the more accurate the divination will be. Wen Xing headed southeast. Ning Shu followed behind him. Back then, she was also a dabbler in Maoshan Taoist. She wasn't very good at divination. Are we going to walk there like this? Ning Shu asked. Don't forget that the little tadpole swam very fast. Wen Xing stopped in his tracks and performed another divination. Wen Xing said that he was lucky. Ning Shu didn't think so. Fortune tellers were all revealing the secrets of the heavens. They were the ones who suffered losses. Lucky? Are you kidding me? How's the situation? Ning Shu asked. The direction hasn't changed. Wen Xing stopped in front of a KTV and flicked his thumb. The copper coin spun in the air and was finally caught by Wen Xing. Wen Xing opened his hand and looked at the copper coin. Finally, Ning Shu said, let's go in. It should be here. Ning Shu didn't care. She originally wanted to protect the client's life. It was fine as long as the client didn't die during the mission. No matter what, she should have at least waited until the government came to deal with it. But she was dragged here by Wen Xing. But it was a good thing to get rid of that disgusting thing as soon as possible. She hoped that other people wouldn't have to go through what the client went through. The KTV was filled with cries and howls. The lights were dim and ambiguous. There were people coming and going in the aisles. Ning Shu and Wen Xing looked around the KTV. This KTV was very big and there were many private rooms. Wen Xing stopped. Ning Shu asked loudly, what's wrong? Wen Xing turned and left the KTV. He tossed the copper coin again. Ning Shu sat on the flower bed bitterly and hammered her legs. That thing ran away again? Wen Xing frowned. Maybe, probably ran away again. Ning Shu, where did it go this time? Ning Shu asked. She wanted to turn on the GPS. Fuck. Southwest, Wen Xing said. I suspect that it smelled my scent and ran away. Ning Shu chuckled. It peed on you? He had already washed himself clean, but it could still be smelled. That thing was too heaven-defying. Not likely. My luck has always been very good. Don't worry, Wen Xing said. Wen Xing held 3 copper coins between his fingers. His index finger and thumb formed a seal. There was a golden thread that strung the 3 copper coins together. The copper coins vibrated slightly and actually left Wen Xing's hand and flew in a direction. Ning Shu, fuck, this thing was more useful than the GPS. The GPS would give you a location and then you would have to find it yourself. This even led the way. The copper coins didn't fly high, only about the height of a person's knee. It was night now, and the color of the copper coins was dark, so basically no one could see them. Wen Xing stopped at the manhole cover on the side of the road. The manhole cover was lifted. Ning Shu moved her nose and smelled a fishy smell. It should have been left behind by the alien. When Xing squatted down and planned to cover the manhole cover, Ning Shu gave him a hand and the two of them worked together to cover the manhole cover. There were people coming and going. If someone fell down, it would be troublesome. The copper coins went to the bar, which was full of people coming and going. Ning Shu released his mental strength. At this time, even without the copper coins to lead the way, he could find the traces of the alien. It left traces of mucus wherever it crawled, just like a snail crawling through a place. The music in the bar was deafening, and the men and women on the dance floor were crazily swaying their bodies. The traces left by the alien were not obvious. Chapter 1573. The bar was noisy and crowded, so it was a bit difficult to find an alien. When Xing's copper coins shuttled through the crowd on the dance floor. When Xing and Ning Shu squeezed into the dance floor to keep up with the copper coins in front of them. Ning Shu squeezed and squeezed, but there was still a man in front of him, shaking his head and swaying his tail as he danced. He probably wanted to pull Ning Shu with him. Ning Shu wanted to go around him, but the man twisted his waist in front of Ning Shu again. Ning Shu couldn't see Wen Xing anymore. He slapped the person in front of him away. "I'm busy." Ning Shu quickly caught up with Wen Xing. "Are we going to the toilet?" "Probably." In the range of Ning Shu's mental strength, Ning Shu had already seen the toilet sign. As he approached the toilet, Ning Shu's mental strength passed through the wall and saw the situation in the toilet. He heard cracking sounds. Ning Shu hurried into the toilet and saw blood flowing out of the toilet cubicle. There was no sound of struggling inside. Obviously, the person was dead. When Xing put away his copper coins, and Ning Shu stepped back, intending to open the door. Ning Shu stood aside. Since when Xing opened the door, he would open it. If it was any other monster, Ning Shu wouldn't even blink, but this kind of thing. Ning Shu was afraid of getting pregnant. When Xing reached out to open the door, but the door was locked from the inside. It was probably someone struggling and the door was kicked open. When Xing pulled and opened the door, the alien with a long tail was lying in a pool of blood, gnawing on a person's body. The basin-sized tadpole supported its head with its tail and then bounced onto Wen Xing's body. The huge impact directly slammed Wen Xing into the wall. It opened its mouth to bite Wen Xing's face. Ning Shu raised his foot and kicked the tadpole away. The tadpole hit the wall and fell to the ground, chirping. Wen Xing gave a piece of golden thread to Ning Shu and pointed to the foot of the wall. "Go there." Ning Shu was speechless. However, Ning Shu still listened to Wen Xing and wrapped the golden thread around his palm twice. Wen Xing held the other end of the golden thread and wrapped it around the small tadpole. The little tadpole screeched ferociously and dodged everywhere. Then, it rushed towards Ning Shu. "I used the golden thread to entangle it." When Ning Shu shouted. Ning Shu kicked the small tadpole up and quickly wrapped the golden thread around the small tadpole's body. "Pull with all your might." When Xing pulled the golden thread with all his might, Ning Shu pulled on the golden thread from the other end. A few circles of golden thread wrapped around the alien's body. With a tug, the golden thread cut into the alien's body. Some splashed out from where the golden thread was entangled, wetting the floor. There was a fishy smell. The xenomorph struggled violently, and the more it struggled, the more the golden threads tightened around its body. Ning Shu's hand was entwined with golden threads. Blood flowed out as the golden threads cut into his flesh. "Come on, let's try to solve it this time." When Xing shouted Ning Shu. At the same time, Ning Shu felt the golden thread go deeper into his skin. The xenomorph screamed very miserably. It really hurts. This is like hurting the enemy by 1,000 and hurting oneself by 800. Ning Shu looked at Wen Xing and saw that Wen Xing had unknowingly put on gloves. "Fuck, do you still have colleagues? Why don't you give me a pair of gloves?" Ning Shu didn't dare to relax. He pulled hard, and the xenomorph screeched. Ning Shu's spiritual power sensed that someone was coming. They were coming to the toilet. "Someone's coming." Ning Shu pulled hard, and all the golden threads sank into the xenomorph's body. To be honest, this kind of golden thread was like cutting a tire. It felt very powerless. The footsteps were getting closer and closer. Ning Shu screamed at the door, "Don't come in." The toilet is blocked. The floor is full of dirty water, feces, and urine. I'm cleaning it up. The footsteps at the door stopped, and a girl asked, "Really? Really, it stinks in there." The person at the door was skeptical and turned to leave. "Hurry up, someone will come soon." Ning Shu's chi sank into his dantian, and a burst of chi hit the xenomorph. The xenomorph struggled in pain, crazily twisting its body, desperately struggling, and dragging Ning Shu and Wenxing away. "You should have given me a pair of fucking gloves. If this goes on, not only will I not cut the xenomorph, my hand will be cut off." Ning Shu was sweating profusely and relied on his great strength to not be dragged. The price was that his hand was injured. If the tendons in his hand were cut, Ning Shu and Wenxing would not be finished. The veins on Wenxing's face were bulging, and his gums were almost bleeding. He panted and said, "Sorry, I forgot." The xenomorph was like a mad bull, rampaging in the toilet without caring about anything. Ning Shu and Wenxing were dragged around by the xenomorph. Ning Shu cursed in his heart. He hardened his heart and released the power of the sun flame, beating the alien until it cried out miserably. "Someone else is here." This time, there were many people. The bar owner must have heard that the toilet was blocked and came to take a look. Wenxing and Ning Shu were a little anxious, especially when there was a dead person lying in the toilet. It was quite troublesome to explain. The xenomorph ignored them and rushed out of the toilet, dragging Ning Shu and Wenxing, and met the people who came to the toilet. What the hell? Everyone was dumbfounded as they stared at the big tadpole in shock. The tadpole was as big as a wash basin. Ning Shu shouted, "Quick, help me catch him." Rather than be suspected of murder, it was better to let everyone know about this damn thing. The silk thread cut into Ning Shu's palm, and blood flowed out. Drop by drop, blood splattered on the ground. But everyone was more afraid than curious about this monster that had suddenly appeared. They didn't even dare to attack. The bar was in chaos. Everyone screamed and fled. The xenomorph dragged the two of them around the bar. The tables and chairs were knocked over, and the drinks were scattered all over the floor. The bar owner was so distressed that he trembled. My wine, my wine." Ning Shu was shocked. The xenomorph's defense was so strong that Ning Shu felt it was inconceivable. Its appearance and texture were like cooked egg white, which could be cut open in a flash. But it was like being strangled on thick rubber, and there was no progress. In particular, its strength was very strong. Ning Shu was now like being dragged by several tractors. No matter how strong she was, she couldn't stop it. No wonder it grew bigger and bigger in the end. It could hit a building with its own body. It was strong enough, and its defense was strong enough. Now, it was just a disaster for the city. If it was strong enough, it could cross the sea and run everywhere. Wenxing's face was quite ugly. He took out 3 copper coins with his other hand. The 3 copper coins flew at the xenomorph at an extremely fast speed, producing a buzzing sound. The 3 copper coins pierced through the xenomorph's body, making 3 small holes and splashing out. The xenomorph's body became much smaller. Ning Shu and Wenxing used all their strength and pulled hard, directly cutting the xenomorph's body in half. Chapter 1574. The aberration let out a mournful cry as it was sliced into 2 halves. The blood from its body splashed onto Ning Shu's body. Ning Shu, no, no, no. Ning Shu wiped his face, wiping away the blood on his face. He saw something squirming in the blood, and there were quite a number of them. They were all thumb-sized aberrations. Ning Shu couldn't help but look at Wenxing, and Wenxing also looked at Ning Shu. Could it be that the head of the big aberration was pregnant with smaller aberrations? Ning Shu wanted to vomit. These small aberrations moved very quickly and attacked anyone they saw. They especially liked to attack women and burrow into their legs. Ning Shu hurriedly picked up the wooden stool and smashed it at these things. After being smashed by Ning Shu, these things exploded. They were so dead that they couldn't be any more dead. However, there were simply too many of them. With just Ning Shu and Wenxing, it was impossible to deal with them. Ning Shu saw with his own eyes that a woman's stomach was bulging. The aberration had burrowed into her stomach and was running around in her stomach. The woman was in incomparable pain and fear. There was something rampaging in her body. Ning Shu was very anxious. He wanted to use a knife to cut open the woman's stomach and grab the aberration out. In the blink of an eye, the aberration rushed out of the woman's stomach and swam out. The woman let out a mournful cry and stopped breathing. There was a hole in her stomach, and it was terrifying. Ning Shu took the knife and directly stabbed it into the aberration's head. The aberration was stabbed, and its tail was still swaying. Its fleshy tail looked exceptionally disgusting. There were countless aberrations in the bar, and they scattered in all directions. Ning Shu and Wen Xen only killed a small portion of them. Moreover, the people in the bar who didn't manage to escape were all attacked by the aberrations. Even with the help of the fiery sun, they only killed a small portion of them. Ning Shu pursed his lips tightly. This was truly out of Ning Shu's expectations. The aberrations now were still very weak. The bar owner's face was blank as he looked at the mess in his bar. He was in despair as if he had been raped. "Let's go." When Xing kicked away the alien that wanted to attack the bar owner and pulled him out of the bar. When they left the bar, there were already police officers outside. The owner of the bar hugged the police officer and wailed in grief. Ning Shu was so tired that he sat on the ground and looked at his bloody hand. It really hurt. When Xing also sat down and sighed with a heavy expression. The police looked for Ning Shu and Wen Xing for questioning. Ning Shu leaned her head against a telephone pole on the side of the road. She was so tired that she did not want to be questioned. The cut on her hand had to be tended. His clothes were full of disgusting things. When Xing went to talk to the police. After that, Ning Shu said, "I'll take you to the hospital." It was time to go to the hospital. There were scars on Wen Xing's face. The golden thread had torn his gloves. His hand was also injured. He wasn't much better off than Ning Shu. The doctor treated Ning Shu and Wen Xing's wounds. Ning Shu said, "I didn't expect this to happen. It was so hard. It was not easy to kill the old one, but there was still the young one. I should have thought of it." Wen Xing frowned. "But if we don't kill it, it will grow bigger and bigger. The small aliens in its body will also grow bigger and more. Ning Shu frowned. "Why would this happen? Only sperm and eggs can reproduce? What the fuck, where are my morals? I think it should be because of the medicine." Wen Xing's face was pale as he gasped. The doctor was applying disinfectant to his wound. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. What a headache. The medicine was originally to increase the number of sperm and enhance the vitality of the sperm. But Su Hongyuan can only squeeze out one at a time. Maybe the extra number is in the body of the big sperm? Damn, just thinking about it made him feel disgusted. Maybe. The important thing now is not how this happened. I am afraid that when these small tadpoles grow up, there will be countless small tadpoles in their body. When Ning Shu heard Wen Xing's words, all the hair on his body stood up. It was disgusting and terrifying. Wouldn't it be endless? "Mama, I want to go home." "Let's talk about it later." "Maybe there isn't. But these scattered ones are a headache." Wen Xing looked dignified. The doctor said. Hearing the conversation between Ning Shu and Wen Xing, he stared at them with a strange look. After taking the anti-inflammatory medicine, Ning Shu and Wen Xing left the hospital. "Do you want to eat something?" Wen Xing asked Ning Shu. "I have no appetite at all." Feeling the night breeze, Ning Shu felt his tense nerves relax a little. He felt weak all over. "What is the wish of your client?" Ning Shu asked Wen Xing. Of course it is for his family, parents, wife, and children. Especially his son, who was just 1 month old and was swallowed. His whole family died. Wen Xing said, "How did you do it? This place is so dangerous. Naturally, I can't stay here. I sent them away to a place far away from this city. If the situation can't be controlled, the aliens will grow bigger and bigger. If they are not here, there won't be any danger. The funds, bank cards, and real estate certificates were all taken away. If the aliens destroy the city, the government will definitely compensate with the real estate certificates." Ning Shu stared at Wen Xing. He thought that Wenxing was a mission enforcer who wanted to spread his love to the world. He didn't expect Wenxing to be so two-faced. Mission enforcer's mission is to complete the mission. They can't be confused. When they have extra energy, they should do something within their power to earn some merit. The most important thing is the mission and the client. After all, the client gave up his soul power and asked for a counterattack. Protecting oneself is the most important thing. Ning Shu agreed to act with Wenxing because he knows that only when this thing is completely dead can the client's fate of being killed by this thing be changed. Then, Ning Shu wants to look for the world's origin. Ning Shu is thinking about whether she should buy a house. Now that the city is in chaos, if the situation really can't be controlled in the future, if an alien grows bigger and wreaks havoc in the city and the house collapses, will she be able to make a fortune from it? But what if the government and the developer don't compensate? She won't have money and a place to live. Ning Shu's heart is in a dilemma. Don't buy. What's your mission? Wenxing asked. Ning Shu, buy a house. Wenxing? What's your serial number? I'll add you. If there are any missions in the future, we can team up. Wenxing asked Ning Shu. 2333, Ning Shu said. Wenxing, tell me your serial number and I'll add you. 2333. Ning Shu repeated. Wenxing was stunned. I'll ask the system to add you. Ning Shu feels that Wenxing is mocking her serial number. God knows why she has this serial number. If there are any missions that you need to team up with, you can find me too. Wenxing said gently. Chapter 1575. Wenxing was gentle like jade, an elegant young master. But when doing missions, he was very skillful. At least he didn't have to worry about being dragged down or backstabbed. His character was quite good. To be honest, Ning Shu was quite happy to receive such an invitation. At least it was an affirmation of her strength. They didn't deny her ability just because she was a woman. Some people regarded her as someone they could respect and cooperate with. Okay, Ning Shu said with a smile. I'll send you back. Wenxing said. Ning Shu shook her head. No need, I can go back by myself. Ning Shu got into the taxi, returned to her rented apartment, and lay on the bed. Her whole body hurt because she used too much strength, her muscles were strained. Originally, this body didn't usually exercise much, but today's exercise was too much for the body to bear. Ning Shu looked at her bandaged hand and felt that Wenxing was too deceitful. He didn't even give her a glove. That golden thread should be the weapon that Wenxing exchanged before doing the mission. Ning Shu felt that exchanging for an axe was better than the golden thread. If she knew that this world was like this, Ning Shu would have definitely exchanged for a gun in advance. Because of the black hole created by the fusion of soul orbs, Ning Shu hadn't seen the client in advance for a long time. Ning Shu sat up and suddenly thought of something, that is, Wenxing seemed to have the ability to predict the future. Wenxing let her stand in one place, then she could successfully wrap the golden thread around the alien's body. The ability to predict the future was simply amazing. Could it be the law of time? She would ask Wenxing tomorrow. Ning Shu sat cross-legged and began to cultivate. She didn't cultivate much after coming to this world, and then she encountered the alien. The alien was a hard bone. It was not easy to bite down, but in the end, she found that there were diamonds in the bones. So many small aliens would attack people, they would slowly grow up, so many. Just thinking about it, Ning Shu felt a sharp pain in her head. She didn't know if it could be cleaned up. What if one of them was lurking somewhere and attacked people when they weren't paying attention? Only when these things were all dead, this mission could be considered completed. Not for others, but for the client. Ning Shu had thought the mission would be simple. He just had to deal with a mutated sperm, but he did not expect the sperm to have so many babies. What a mess. There was no way to look directly at such things. Even men found it hard to look directly at them. Ning Shu drew a cross in front of his chest. Amen, please bless my sexual orientation. Ning Shu, I'm so desperate. After a night of cultivation, Ning Shu felt pain all over his body the next day. His hand was wrapped up, so he couldn't give himself a massage. Ning Shu and Wenxing arrived at the company with their hands wrapped. When Ning Shu saw Wenxing, he asked, "Have you mastered the laws of time?" Wenxing was a little confused and said, "No." "Then how can you predict the future?" Ning Shu asked. Wenxing shook her head. "Instead of calling it the laws of time, it's better to call it a curse. I can know what happened in the past, but I can't change what has already happened. As for predicting the future, I can only vaguely guess, but there are countless possibilities in the future. It's not easy to predict," Wenxing said. "Mastering the laws of time is different. You can control time, but I can't," Wenxing said. Ning Shu knew that his question was a little abrupt, so he said, "Thank you, I understand. Since we're working together, we naturally have to know some basic information about each other. What do you know?" Wenxing really stumped Ning Shu. She didn't have any outstanding skills. After a moment of silence, she asked, "Does my strength count?" "Yes, I can see that." Ning Shu was speechless. Curses were something closest to the laws, but they weren't laws. They were far from the real laws, but they were still very useful. Comprehending the laws was a very difficult thing. Mastering curses was relatively easier. However, after mastering the laws, the difference between the power of curses and the power of laws was like heaven and earth. Ning Shu wanted to take a step back and master the power of curses. This way, the mission would be easier. There would be enough time to master the real laws. If you want to master the real laws, don't comprehend the pirated laws. Although those curses also have the power of laws, they can't be compared to the real laws, 2333 said. The real laws carry the power of heaven and earth. Mastering countless curses is not as good as mastering one law. Everything is fair. Because it's difficult, its power is even more amazing. Ning Shu listened to 2333's words and didn't speak for a long time. "I think it's a little difficult to rely on peerless martial arts. If there's no other means, it's a little difficult." She wanted to master the real laws, but it was a little difficult now. If that's the case, you can choose to go to the law space to comprehend the laws. Anyway, mission enforcers don't have the time flow. You can stay in the virtual space for as long as you want, 2333 said. "Of course, this is just my suggestion." Ning Shu supported her chin with her hand. As a result, she touched the wound on her hand and cried. It seemed that she had to slow down the progress of the mission and comprehend the laws more. If her strength couldn't keep up and she entered the mission, she would be tired and unable to complete the mission perfectly. But if she didn't do the mission, her soul was so weak that she needed the mission enforcer's soul. Her current soul strength was far behind the super mission enforcer's. Probably no super mission enforcer's soul was as weak as hers. Ning Shu, I'm in a pickle. In short, Ning Shu had a lot of problems in front of her. Her soul was weak, she didn't master the laws, she found the world's origin wood, but she didn't build the world. Ning Shu, I'm so desperate really. Forget it, let's take it slow. She had enough time to solve these problems one by one. I have a lot of time, I'm willful. But thinking about so many xenomorphs, Ning Shu felt a headache coming on. No, she couldn't say it was a headache anymore. Su Hongyuan was a headache that caused this thing to come out. Ning Shu felt that her GPS system could locate these things, but it would cost 5 merit points each time. With so many, Ning Shu's little bit of merit was not enough. Especially when it came to locating them. These things couldn't be located, but they could move at any time. Ning Shu, I'm even more desperate. Ning Shu stared at her hand. She had to think of a way to heal her hand quickly. The longer she delayed, the bigger those things would grow and the greater the threat. Anyway, she couldn't hide from them. She had to face them. Ning Shu had to face these disgusting things head-on. If she had known, she would have exchanged for guns and bullets. When she got off work that night, Ning Shu said, I bought a shotgun. I'm going to modify it. It should be lethal. Let's try it tonight? Chapter 1576. Try it tonight? Ning Shu, your heart is full of seeds. You want to drive a car? Ning Shu nodded. Let's see how powerful it is after the modification. Your home or mine? Forget it. My home. You are married. If I go to your home, your client will definitely be gossiped about. Wen Xing had sent his client's family away from the city. But if she went to his house now, his wife would not make a fuss. It would also be a problem for her client. Wen Xing nodded. Your home. Actually, Ning Shu wanted to look at real estate. But after thinking about it, she decided not to. After this incident, the prices might be lowered. Something like this had happened in the city. It would affect the prices. Ning Shu was now tiptoeing. She was hoping that the high property prices would drop a little. That way, she would have enough money for the down payment. Wen Xing was modifying the shotgun he bought. Ning Shu looked at Wen Xing. Wen Xing's hands were nimble. He was familiar with all kinds of tools. She thought that he was a talented poet. She did not expect him to be so familiar with guns and ammunition. Ning Shu stared at Wen Xing and watched him modify the shotgun. This man was talented in this area. Ning Shu looked at him for a while and did not know how to modify it. This skill needs to be mastered. Wen Xing passed the modified shotgun to Ning Shu. Ning Shu took the shotgun. It was much heavier than before. Ning Shu asked uncertainly, "Will it go off accidentally?" "I don't think so. But this country does not allow people to equip guns. If we can equip people with guns, we might be able to get some advanced weapons." Wen Xing shook his head. His client was an ordinary office worker. He did not have any channels to get advanced weapons. As for borrowing a gun from the police said, "I suspect you are a criminal. You will be detained first." "Is there a silencer installed on this gun?" Ning Shu asked. If the gun was fired, the surrounding area would be able to hear it. Wen Xing nodded. "Let's try it out." "Okay." Ning Shu and Wen Xing were dressed in black. They were holding a half-meter-long shotgun. This was the disadvantage of shotguns. It was too big. "Do you know how to shoot?" Wen Xing asked uncertainly. Ning Shu nodded. "I know how to shoot." "That's good. We still have to rely on this kind of weapon to deal with this kind of thing." Wen Xing said at least it wouldn't drag them down. The mission enforcers they met this time were able to keep up with the pace. Wen Xing threw out a handful of copper coins. These copper coins floated in front of him, with a few of them spinning. Wen Xing put away the other copper coins, leaving only the spinning copper coin. There should be aliens around here. Ning Shu stared at Wen Xing's copper coins. What kind of skill was this? Could it be the power of the curse as well? What kind of power was used to determine the location of the aliens? Ning Shu opened her mouth, but in the end she didn't ask. After all, she and Wen Xing had only met by chance. Besides, she didn't tell Wen Xing that she was going to build a world out of her cultivation manual. Ning Shu followed behind Wen Xing with a shotgun. Ning Shu lived in a rather remote place with alleys and alleys. The copper coins floated in the air, followed by two people. Ning Shu heard hurried footsteps and saw a woman running towards them in a panic. "Save me, save me." The woman clutched her stomach. Ning Shu lifted her skirt and saw something moving in her body. An alien had drilled into her body. Ning Shu was really disgusted. Moreover, the woman kept bleeding, and there were bloodstains on her legs. How could this thing drill into a person's body? It was fine if it drilled into it, but it even drilled into a woman's body. The woman grabbed Ning Shu's hand and begged for help weakly. "Save me, save me." The woman was bleeding more and more. Lying on the ground, there was already a pool of blood under her. Ning Shu looked at the woman's stomach. The things in her stomach were moving from one side to the other. It wasn't a cute child inside, but a monster. Ning Shu put down the shotgun. How could she save her? She didn't have any tools in her hands, no medical tools. Ning Shu immediately called the ambulance. The woman's breathing was getting weaker and weaker. Her face was pale and she was sweating profusely. "Save me, save me." Ning Shu placed his hand on the woman's lower abdomen. He could still feel something swimming inside, and it was quite strong. It was destroying the woman's body. "Cheap thing." Ning Shu gritted his teeth and said to Wen Xing, "Hold her down." Wen Xing pressed down on the woman's hands while Ning Shu separated the woman's legs. He took off the bandage on his hand and slowly reached into the woman's body. Wenxing, you want to pull the alien out? Wenxing asked in surprise. What else can I do? I've been a midwife and delivered babies. Ning Shu slowly opened the bandage. It was filled with sticky blood. When he reached the cervix, Ning Shu stretched out 2 fingers. However, Ning Shu felt rotten flesh at the cervix. Ning Shu reached in and suddenly his finger was bitten. Ning Shu grunted and felt sharp teeth biting into her skin. Ning Shu dragged the thing outside. The woman's breathing was getting faster and faster. It looked like she couldn't take it anymore. Ning Shu quickly dragged the alien out. This thing was the size of a baby's fist and already had teeth. It bit Ning Shu's finger and refused to let go. Ning Shu grabbed its tail and tried to pull it away. This thing was growing too fast. At this speed, it wouldn't be long before it grew into a huge monster. Wait, let me take a picture first so that I can call the police later. There are so many of them. We can't do it alone. Wenxing took out his phone and took a picture. Ning Shu, help me get rid of this thing first. Ning Shu felt that if he pulled it forcefully, it would definitely bite off a part of her finger. Wenxing took out the small Swiss Army knife on his leg and cut off the alien's tail. The alien immediately opened its mouth and fell to the ground, squeaking. Without a tail, the alien couldn't move at all. It couldn't swim at all. Its baby fist-sized head spun on the spot. Ning Shu's finger was bleeding. He didn't know if this thing was poisonous. What if it got pregnant with a bite? And it was Su Hongyuan's child. Ning Shu wanted to cut off Su Hongyuan's balls whenever he thought about how Su Hongyuan's little tadpoles had run into so many women's stomachs. Ning Shu stepped on the head of the xenomorph and directly crushed its head. With a bang, breast milk burst out. Ning Shu squatted down to see if there were any little tadpoles in it. Ning Shu took out a piece of paper, dipped it in it, and put it away. Ning Shu planned to take it to the hospital to see if there were any little tadpoles in it. After all, normal little tadpoles couldn't be seen with the naked eye. Why isn't the ambulance here yet? Wenxing frowned. It had been so long. Ning Shu looked at the dying woman lying in a pool of blood on the ground and said to Wenxing, "Carry her on your back. We'll take her to the hospital and check if there's anything in it." Appeal. If you see this book, please read the original version. The original version is 10 cents per chapter. For chapters a day is 40 cents. This book is a niche book. Not many readers read it. Please read the original version. The daily subscription really made people lose their enthusiasm and motivation. Hopeless persistence was the most torturous. Moi. Chapter 1577. Xing picked up the woman on the ground. She was already on the verge of death. Being carried by Xing, her face turned even paler. %Yin, read the most complete version of this. Translator, Timothy_editor, Xing's hands were stained with blood. Ning Shu hailed a taxi on the side of the road while pressing on the woman's acupuncture points. Ning Shu's place was not easy to find a taxi, but there were some unlicensed ones. Xing put the woman in the car. Ning Shu said, "You go to the hospital. I'll look for more." Ning Shu asked, "What will you do if you see an injured woman?" "If I can save her, then I'll save her. If I can't, then forget it," Xing said coldly. Ning Shu nodded and asked the driver to drive faster. As they approached the hospital, Ning Shu heard the sirens of ambulances coming in and out. The whole city was filled with the sirens of ambulances. Ning Shu carried the woman into the hospital and shouted to the nurse, "Someone come quickly. Stop the bleeding and give her blood." The nurse saw Ning Shu carrying a woman calmly. He was not even panting. She was a bit stunned, but she quickly pushed the bed over. Ning Shu put the woman on the bed. The woman grabbed onto Ning Shu's clothes tightly. Ning Shu could only push her hand away. One by one, the beds passed by Ning Shu. The woman on the bed was holding her stomach and crying in pain. Her lower body was covered in blood. It seemed that they were all attacked by the aliens. It was not that the ambulances did not want to go, but that there were not enough ambulances. Ning Shu took the tissue with sperm and prepared to test it. He wanted to see what sperm was in the alien's body. Ning Shu was actually most afraid of sperm. If that was the case, then the alien's reproduction was terrifying. Ning Shu went to the laboratory and asked the doctor to do the test. Ning Shu waited outside the door. After a while, the laboratory staff said that it was sperm. Ning Shu silently spat and washed his hands. There were small tadpoles in the body of a big tadpole. When the big tadpole grew, the small tadpoles also grew. Every tadpole had small tadpoles. This thing has truly achieved asexual reproduction. Ning Shu took out his mobile phone and called Xing. Xing was silent for a long time before he said, "I really admire Su Hongyuan." No, Ning Shu was the scientist who had taken the drug. It was all because of a man that such a thing happened. Ning Shu hung up the phone. When he passed by a ward, he saw that it was extremely chaotic. Ning Shu pushed the door open and saw a nurse clutching her stomach. Her face was contorted in fear. Blood flowed out from under her. Ning Shu hurriedly said, "Hurry up and take out the xenomorph. Take it out and kill it. Hurry up." The alien had probably been removed from the patient's body and placed on the tray. In the end, it had entered the nurse's body. The nurse was held down. The doctor cut open her stomach and took out the alien that was the size of a golf ball. Ning Shu picked up the scissors on the tray and cut off the xenomorph's tail. She covered the xenomorph with something and stepped on it. Ning Shu's step did not kill the alien. He stepped on it again and still did not kill it. The alien squeaked. It was a little awkward. Ning Shu took the scissors and stabbed it directly into the alien's head. Ning Shu said, "This has to be killed directly. Otherwise, it will attack people everywhere in the hospital. Maybe you don't believe it, but this is human sperm." The doctors and nurses were speechless. Ning Shu got a set of medical equipment from the hospital. There were all kinds of tools needed for surgery. Ning Shu felt that as long as there were scalpels, sutures, and anesthetics, it would be enough. The small tadpoles were still small and liked to drill into women's bodies. When they grew up, they would not be able to drill into women's bodies. They would bite and swallow people. Carrying the box, Ning Shu walked out of the hospital. He saw another woman being carried out of the ambulance. Ning Shu looked away and slung the box over his body. He called Xing and asked, "Where are you? I'll come and find you." Xing told him a location. Ning Shu hailed a car and went to the address. Ning Shu looked out of the window. The neon lights were flashing. It was a bustling city that never sleeps. But the undercurrents were surging. Those aliens hiding in the unknown would attack people. Ning Shu felt that the alien was a despicable thing. If there were two people in front of it, a man and a woman, the alien would attack the woman first. Despicable. Ning Shu arrived at the place Xing said. He got out of the car and saw Xing sitting on the flower bed with two shotguns beside him. Ning Shu walked over and gave him a bottle of water. "How is it?" "It's not easy." Xing opened the bottle cap and drank. "There are many patients in the hospital who have been attacked. The people above should pay attention to it," Ning Shu said. Xing raised his head and drank half a bottle of water. Then he saw Ning Shu's box. "Well, taking the alien out of the woman's body is the best way. Let's go." Xing stood up and handed a shotgun to Ning Shu. Xing took out a copper coin and divined. Then the two of them followed the copper coin. In a bush, they saw something swimming in the grass, making a squeaking sound. Xing looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu raised the shotgun and released his spiritual force. He located the position of the alien and then pulled the trigger. There was a pop sound and something exploded. Ning Shu walked over and saw the sperm splashed on the grass and leaves. It was a pool of white. Ning Shu took out disinfectant from the medical kit and poured it directly on the sperm to dilute and kill them. "Normal sperm can't live for long outside the body," Xing said. "Ning Shu, do you think these sperm are normal?" Ning Shu felt a little desperate. If he killed one, more would come out of the body. "Burn it with fire?" Xingjian suggested. "After all, it's a mutated thing. Then I'll use concentrated sulfuric acid," Ning Shu said fiercely. He didn't believe that it could survive in concentrated sulfuric acid. Xing looked worried. What I'm worried about is another problem. That is, will someone use this thing to achieve their own selfish desires? Ning Shu asked, someone will keep this thing in captivity. It can't be, right? This thing will grow bigger and bigger and there will be more aliens in its body. Xing frowned. Humans are smart, but don't underestimate their desires. They can blind their minds. If we let these things attack the bank, attack the cash truck, there was no lack of opportunistic people in the world. Ning Shu was silent. Even I want to do that. Xing scratched his head. If it spreads, this plane may be finished. You and I will fail the mission, especially since both of us can't control the situation. Ning Shu, what can I say? I'm also very desperate. Xing said, let's go look for it first. If we find one, we'll have one less. Ning Shu nodded and followed behind Xing with the box. Originally, he was self-satisfied. Chapter 1578. With the help of the copper coins, Ning Shu and Xing managed to find and kill many of the aliens. Please search, and yen, to see the most complete. Update the fastest. Ning Shu had also cut open the bellies of many of the women who had been attacked by the aliens. He could only cut open the woman's stomach and take it out. Ning Shu's hand was always bitten by the aliens. She sewed up the woman's wound and called a taxi to send the woman to the hospital. Ning Shu followed Xing to the police station and informed the police of the seriousness of the matter. There were already so many injured people in the city, so they had to take it seriously. In the end, Xing even wanted to ask the police for advanced weapons. The police would definitely take it seriously because every hospital was full of people now. However, it was fine to give them a gun. It was already so chaotic. It was definitely not okay to give them a gun. Who knows what you'll do? Cars drove out of the police station one after another. All the armed forces were mobilized. Xing didn't force him. If he couldn't get the gun, then so be it. He would think of another way. Ning Shu carried the box and said to Chao Xing, we have to think of a way to completely eliminate these things so that they can't reproduce. Xing rubbed his forehead and didn't say anything. It seemed like he couldn't think of anything. Ning Shu felt that at this rate, they would not be able to catch up with the growth of the aliens. It's a pity that the curse I have mastered does not have the power of the time law. If I used the time law to attack, I would definitely be able to destroy these things, Star said. Ning Shu's heart lit up. She did not have a ruby ring, it was a time law stone. But it wasn't a good idea to take it out. Before Ning Shu could say anything, 2333 said, no. Ning Shu, get lost. What's wrong? Xing looked at Ning Shu and suddenly realized something. Ning Shu shook his head. I'm fine. Why can I use the soul pearl between us? Ning Shu asked unwillingly. You're now a super mission enforcer. The higher-ups are watching your every move. In the past, I was the one who opened the back door for you. Now, I can't do that anymore. We're both finished. Besides, it's just a world. Maybe it's already been recorded. 2333 said. Ning Shu was speechless. He was afraid that the mission enforcers would use their abilities to commit crimes in the mission world. But now was not the time to commit crimes. The pearl that could travel through any plane at will had fused with the soul pearl. He didn't know if he would still have this characteristic after the fusion. He really wanted to throw all these things into the black hole. This kind of thing was a disaster no matter where it was, no matter what world it was. We feel that we should ask the higher-ups to extend the time limit. This world has to intervene, Xing said. Ning Shu was a little surprised and asked, extension of authority? It was Ning Shu's first time hearing this term. How do I apply for an extension of time? You can apply with your system, and your system will report it for you. However, you need an authorization ticket, Xing explained. Do you have the authorization to apply for a ticket? Ning Shu smiled. Do you think I do? This was the first time he had heard of an authority ticket. The so-called extended time limit authority meant that the mission taker could apply for the authority if it exceeded their ability by too much and caused a huge impact on the world. If the higher-ups approved it, they would be able to exchange for weapons with great destructive power. Other mission enforcers would even come over to prevent too much damage to the world. Ning Shu knew very well that he didn't have the authorization ticket, but he didn't know how to get one. Ning Shu asked 2333, "How do I get the authorization ticket?" "It's quite difficult. It will occasionally appear in the mission rewards, or you can use faith and merit to exchange for it," 2333 said. Ning Shu, "How much faith and merit do I need?" 10,000 faith power and 5,000 merit points. Ning Shu, "I'd rather fail the mission." The price was too high. Xing was silent for a bit. "I've already asked my system to apply. What weapon should I exchange for?" Xing muttered to himself. Ning Shu. She hadn't even seen an authorization ticket before, but he was already thinking about what weapon to exchange for. The life of a mission enforcer was more interesting than she thought. The more time passed, the more things she came into contact with. Xing, who was as gentle as jade, should have become a mission enforcer earlier than her. Xing closed his eyes, and 2 guns appeared in his hands. One for Ning Shu. "This is a weapon produced in the super bright plane." Ning Shu took the gun. He didn't look very impressive. Logically speaking, this kind of weapon shouldn't appear in this plane, but only this kind of weapon can deal with it. The higher-ups might send more people over, Xing said. "Well, this gun costs 50 faith. After the mission, remember to return it to me," Xing said. Ning Shu nodded. "I know." Ning Shu couldn't wait to try out the power of this gun. With the advanced weapon, the mission became easier. Although they had armed forces, there were a lot of scattered aliens, and they were growing rapidly. It was almost an exponential growth. Kill one, and there would be thousands of aliens. With the help of the copper coins, Xing found an alien. Ning Shu and Xing aimed at the alien at the same time, and the alien probably sensed Ning Shu's feminine aura. It actually swam its tail, squeaked, and excitedly rushed over to Ning Shu. Ning Shu, wasn't this called picking the soft persimmon to pinch? If you have the ability, go for a man? Men have holes too, they're going for the chrysanthemum. Ning Shu felt that his moral integrity had been eroded and scattered with the wind. Ning Shu took the lead and fired. No bullets flew out, but a heat beam that almost burned the air hit the alien. The alien squeaked and directly vaporized, disappearing without a trace, not even leaving a trace. Ning Shu, awesome. This gun doesn't need bullets, it uses compressed air to form an extremely strong air pressure to attack the target. Xing touched the gun and said, "If it wasn't for the authority, this kind of weapon wouldn't appear in this plane." Things beyond the plane's technology were not allowed to exist. "Do we have to take back this gun?" Ning Shu asked. "Yes, we have to take it back. It's actually equivalent to spending 50 faith to rent it." Ning Shu hammered the ground. Damn, the system exchange store was even more shady than she thought. Who made the exchange store? Just because it was built in the system, they could be so arrogant? But this weapon was too fucking awesome. One shot, one death. It seemed that she also had to get some authority tickets. With the weapon, Ning Shu felt much more relaxed. What she was most afraid of was the problem of the alien's reproduction. But now, he had directly caused an aberration to vanish, not even leaving behind a speck of dust. This solved a huge problem. Ning Shu and Xing continued to travel through the city, killing many aliens and saving many people. Ning Shu felt that she was still too weak. If she was alone in this world, she definitely wouldn't be able to do anything in such a situation. Originally, she thought that she would. Chapter 1579. After all, this was no longer something that could be solved by one person. A large-scale disaster couldn't be reversed by one person. Please search # for the most complete, the fastest update. Moreover, she didn't have the authority and couldn't exchange for advanced weapons. Ning Shu carried a medical kit and cut open the stomachs of many women. The aliens were also getting bigger and bigger. These things were even more terrifying than the rat infestation. Ning Shu operated and got the aliens out of the bodies. Then Xing shot and killed them. The xenomorph was hit and immediately dissipated. At the same time, the armed forces in the city increased and destroyed the aliens all over the city. The people also knew about the existence of these things. The media told the people to go out as little as possible and to close the doors and windows. They especially had to pay attention to the situation in the sewers. Some smaller aliens might appear in the toilets. They had to have some weapons at home. The people were all anxious and didn't dare to go out. The originally bustling city seemed empty. All economic activities were forced to stop. The companies were on holiday. Even so, some people were still attacked. More and more armed forces entered the city to destroy the aliens. It was almost a carpet search, inch by inch, making sure that they could search every inch of it. This was to prevent the aliens from running to other areas. This bustling place was almost empty. People were only allowed to leave and not enter. When they went out, they would be strictly checked and not allowed to bring aliens with them. The economic impact was immeasurable. With such a strong sweep, Ning Shu felt that a new mission enforcer had come. The housing prices will definitely drop, definitely, Ning Shu said happily. Xing? It will drop, but do you think this city will still be as prosperous as before? Xing asked. Ning Shu, this was a problem. Everyone cherished their lives. There were so many cities, so why choose this one? It seemed that it would be a bit difficult to return to the previous economic prosperity. In the future, when people talked about this city, the first thing they would think of was that there were giant monsters in this city. Su Hongyuan's name might go down in history. Ning Shu and Xing shuttled through the city every day. Sometimes, they would go into the sewers. As long as one of these things was left behind, there would be endless trouble. They had to ensure that no one was left behind. Even if there was only one, this thing would spread. Ning Shu, I'm so scared, he would never accept this kind of mission again. Anything that grew bigger would cause the world to be unable to bear it. This was especially true for men, who won by numbers. They could easily have hundreds of millions or even hundreds of millions. However, their bodies were small and could only be seen under a microscope. But now, it had been magnified countless times, and there were hundreds of millions of them. It was truly horrifying. Ning Shu suspected that the dinosaurs went extinct because they were too big. Under the purge of the armed forces and Ning Shu, there were very few of them left. There were many people in the armed forces, but Ning Shu and Xing were able to accurately pinpoint the location of the xenomorph. Finding the target and killing the target was much more efficient. During this period of time, Ning Shu and Xing had developed a tacit understanding. Their cooperation was getting smoother and smoother. The chaos in the city caused some crimes. Some people really wanted to rob the bank. If they couldn't rob the bank, they would rob other shops. In short, without order, everything became chaotic. Without restraint, the evil in people's hearts was released. However, when these people were caught, their fates were very tragic. They were executed on the spot without even going through trial. There was no discussion at all. It was extremely tough. More and more armed forces gathered in the city, and they were doing their best to clean up the city. Under such circumstances, Ning Shu was more and more certain that someone had come. And it was someone with a high status who could mobilize the armed forces. He didn't know which mission enforcer it was. Ning Shu sat down and took off his medical box. He said to Xing, I'll rest for a while. The two of them had been shuttling through the city almost without sleep. They had barely closed their eyes. Xing passed a bottle of water to Ning Shu. Then rest for a while. Xing's body couldn't take it anymore. However, Ning Shu didn't say to stop and rest. As a man, Xing was embarrassed to stop and rest. Ning Shu drank a mouthful of water and took out a fasting pill. He asked Xing, do you want it? Xing took the fasting pill and swallowed it. Ning Shu took another fasting pill and swallowed it. How long have you been a mission enforcer? Ning Shu asked Xing. Xing held the bottle of water and thought for a while. I don't remember. It should have been a long time. It's meaningless to talk about time with mission enforcers. As long as mission enforcers weren't killed, they were immortal. Ning Shu nodded. He looked up at the sky full of stars. I suddenly feel like I'm in the apocalypse. Work hard for survival. If this thing isn't destroyed, it will definitely become the apocalypse, Xing said. Why don't we rest for a night? I'm tired. Ning Shu touched his shoulder. The skin on his shoulder had been scraped by the belt of the medical box. Ning Shu took out some ointment from the box and planned to apply some. The skin on both sides of his shoulders had been worn out by the constant shifting of his shoulders. However, Ning Shu couldn't leave the medical box. If there was a need for surgery and he didn't have the tools, he would be at a loss. "I'll apply it for you." Xing took the ointment and squeezed some white ointment onto his finger. He then applied it on Ning Shu's shoulder. "Thank you." Ning Shu thanked him. After applying the ointment, the scraped skin felt cold and hot. Xing's phone rang. Xing kept saying that he was fine and would be back in 2 days. It should be Xing's family calling. Speaking of which, why didn't the mission enforcer's parents call? Even if they were in the mountains, they should know about this kind of news. Xing hung up the phone and tore his sleeve. He gave it to Ning Shu and said, "Tie it on your shoulder so that the belt won't cut your flesh." Ning Shu looked at Xing in surprise. Xing said, "We're now a team. We advance and retreat together." Ning Shu took the sleeve, tied it on his wound, and tied a knot under his armpit. Ning Shu felt for the first time that he had a partner who could help him when he was in trouble. They had the same goal and supported each other. He had to get stronger quickly. "I'm counting on you this time." "I didn't expect this mission to be so difficult," Ning Shu said. The advanced weapons were provided by Xing, and finding the aliens was also Xing's mission. Xing smiled and looked as gentle as jade. "Same here. I also have a share of the merit you get from saving people." Ning Shu, being gentle didn't mean that he wasn't scheming. It was a matter of mutual benefit. Ning Shu leaned against the wall and rested. He closed his eyes and practiced his unique martial arts. His strong physical strength came from his unique martial arts. Xing was playing with his copper coins. Ning Shu asked curiously, "You can predict the future?" "My skills are shallow. I can only predict what will happen in the next 15 minutes. The direction of the events is vague." Originally, he was self-confident. Chapter 1580. Ning Shu asked mischievously, "Then can you predict what I'm going to do next?" Xing glanced at Ning Shu and said, "Go to the toilet." Ning Shu was speechless. "Then I'll hold it in. You drank so much water just now. It's inevitable that you'll go to the toilet, or it'll be later," Xing said. Ning Shu felt that this was pretty awesome. Although it was just a curse and not the real law of time, it was still pretty awesome. Ning Shu once again had the idea of learning incantations. Although curses were not the real law of time, it was still a method. There was no difference in power. As long as it was useful, it was a good power. Speaking of being a country bumpkin, her ultimate martial arts were even more country bumpkin. But now, her ultimate martial arts had become the medium for her to build her world. What could people say about this? Ning Shu was deep in thought. Then she felt the urge to pee and wanted to go to the toilet. Ning Shu rolled her eyes and went to the toilet with her gun. Predicting that she was going to pee was also drunk. Ning Shu squatted in a secret place to use the toilet. She saw an alien the size of a man's fist swimming in front of her. It excitedly bounced towards her. Ning Shu didn't even pull up her pants. She just fired a shot and the alien was annihilated. There wasn't even a trace of it left. After dealing with the alien, Ning Shu pulled up her pants. Her expression didn't change at all. 2333 suddenly said, "Ning Shu, you've changed." Ning Shu squinted. "How have I changed? Have I become prettier? Tell me honestly, can you see when I go to the toilet?" 2333. "I mean, you're starting to develop into a qualified mission enforcer. You can face all kinds of situations calmly," 2333 said. She could drink coffee in a cafe, eat steak elegantly in a high-class restaurant, and pick up garbage to eat when her life was threatened. Ning Shu heard 2333 praise her for the first time. Ning Shu flipped her hair, stood on her tiptoes and said smugly, "I've always been so outstanding. Don't admire me. But in my heart, you've always been a playful retard. That hasn't changed." 2333. "You're the retard. You're the most retarded." Ning Shu returned to Xing's side. Xing was fiddling with his hands. Ning Shu glanced over and saw that Xing was watching the news. What news? Ning Shu asked. The city is on lockdown. The highway that leads here has been blocked. Xing put away his phone and leaned against the wall. Ning Shu rubbed his calf. It looks like the economy of this place is going to decline. I have to find a new city and work hard to buy a house. Xing? Shouldn't they be discussing how to deal with the xenomorph first? All they talk about is buying houses, buying houses, buying houses. I don't think it's possible for the economy to regress. After the disaster, there will definitely be a lot of construction, Xing said. Does that mean I can buy a house here? Ning Shu thought for a while. He would wait until the matter was settled and see if he could buy a house here. Xing, that after the conversation ended, the two of them closed their eyes and rested. When they had rested enough, the two of them began to search for aliens again. They could only walk and did not drive. Also, they had to crawl through the sewers. It was really miserable. Xing helped Ning Shu carry the first aid kit. The two of them took turns. Also, Ning Shu had used up some of the medicine in the first aid kit. Some pharmacies were closed. Ning Shu could only go to the hospital to look for more. Now, every hospital was in a state of full capacity, and some medical staff were injured. Ning Shu wanted anti-inflammatory drugs and anesthetics, but was told that the hospital was out of stock. Ning Shu. I can exchange for some. Anyway, I have the right to extend the limit this time. Xing said. A box of medicine appeared in front of him. There were anti-inflammatory drugs and anesthetics. As time passed, this batch of xenomorphs started to grow. Some of them had already grown to the size of a basin. If they killed the xenomorph in a normal way, there would already be small xenomorph the size of a child's finger in their body. It was simply endless. Ning Shu killed a xenomorph the size of a basin. He said to Xing, I don't know what weapons the armed forces are using. It's useless to just kill the xenomorph. Instead, there will be more and more of them. Xing didn't know what to say. Ning Shu suspected that they would continue to stay in this world to kill these things. Ning Shu suspected that these things had already spread out. After all, they were active in the sewers. Perhaps they would flow into the sea and drift to various places. Ning Shu wiped his face. He didn't dare to think about it. Xing's expression didn't look too good either. If this mission failed, it would use up one authority and the power of faith. If it failed, it wouldn't be worth it. If they bombarded it, it would be like using a cannon to kill a mosquito. They could only rely on manpower to destroy it. It was quite a despairing thing. Come, let's hug each other and continue to fight the xenomorph, Xing said helplessly. Ning Shu. I think that they should send someone. The two of us can't handle it, Ning Shu said. My system has already reported the situation here. Let's wait. Xing wiped the sweat off his forehead. When Ning Shu heard Xing's words, he felt that the system Xing was talking about was so soft and cute. Thinking about his own system, he was half dead. When something happened, it shrank back. I have also reported it, but I feel guilty, 2333 said. Ning Shu. What are you guilty of? Ning Shu, I once helped you exchange for the death-like pill, helped you reach the Sea of Law, and even helped you pass the Soul Pearl once. 2333 was very familiar with it. I don't remember at all. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. You brought me to the Sea of Law because you coveted the Chaos Stone in my hands. 2333. That this guy holds a grudge. You don't dare to show your existence because you are afraid of being punished? Ning Shu, that these things were all on her head. Ning Shu's intuition told him that 2333 still had something that he didn't tell her. I advise you not to do anything out of line behind my back. Ning Shu said seriously, I haven't constructed a world yet. It is very likely that I will be obliterated, completely obliterated. I didn't. What can I do out of line? Even if I do, it is to serve you. 2333 said. Ning Shu's expression was indifferent. You are using me as an excuse again. I feel that you want to push the blame to me. He was determined not to be the scapegoat. You are too sensitive. We are one. Betraying you is betraying myself. I will not do things that harm others without benefiting myself. Ning Shu shook his head. No, you might do things that harm others for your own benefit. 2333 was silent for a moment and said, it is still the same sentence. We are one. Ning Shu walked with a solemn expression. Xing stopped and saw that Ning Shu's expression was not good. He said, let me help you carry it for a while. Ning Shu's shoulder was in pain. His clothes were stuck to the wound. It was painful when he pulled it, so he used the medical kit. What happened to you? Xing could not help but ask. The atmosphere was very low. He had never seen this mission enforcer like this. Ning Shu looked at Xing and thought for a moment before asking, do you think the system will betray the mission enforcers? It was originally his own. Chapter 1581. Ning Shu asked Wen Xing, the quest-taker beside her. Ning Shu had this feeling in her heart. Perhaps she would really fall apart with 2333. Wen Xing paused for a moment. Probably not. You are bound together because of mutual benefits. You represent the system's interests, and the system represents your interests. Why do you have such a question? Wen Xing asked in surprise. Ning Shu pursed her lips. Maybe I'm thinking too much. Since we are one, then it's fine. Wen Xing said, you should know that the system is also a soul. Communication is fundamental. Ning Shu suddenly realized that she shouldn't have asked this question. She was worried that 2333 would betray her. She was worried about something that hadn't happened yet. Ning Shu felt that her heart wasn't strong enough to worry about something that hadn't happened yet. She had to face up to the fact that she and 2333 were not on the same path. She and 2333 were strangers to begin with. Now that they were bound together, they didn't make any promises to each other. They didn't have to be loyal to each other. Although there would be a day when they would break up, it would only be when they reached a fork in the road. If they couldn't get through, then they had to go their separate ways. But before they reached the fork in the road, she and 2333 were still one, so she didn't have to worry about 2333. Instead of worrying about such things, it was better to work hard and become stronger. Then she would be able to deal with the changes caused by the collapse of the system and protect herself. She had to build her own world. Not only to not be wiped out, but also to be able to deal with the day when she and 2333 reached the end of the road and survive. With that thought, Ning Shu felt relieved. She was worried about nothing. Because she still didn't have the power to deal with the consequences of the system's separation, she was worried. All her worries came from not being strong enough. In the short term, this kind of thing wouldn't happen. If 2333 became strong, she would become strong too. When the time came, 2333's departure wouldn't be a big deal to her. Ning Shu let out a long sigh. She let go of the depression in her heart and kicked the stone away from her heart. In fact, this matter had always been weighing on Ning Shu's heart. Now that he was facing it head-on, he had endless motivation. When Xing saw that Ning Shu's expression had become lighter, just a moment ago, he was still frowning. Now, he looked as if he was floating in the air. How could his inner thoughts be so rich? What a nice day. Ning Shu held the gun and fired at the alien that was pouncing on her. When Xing silently looked at the gloomy sky, he really couldn't bring himself to say something that went against his conscience. His conscience would ache. Take a break. When XN took out the medical kit, sat down, and drank a mouthful of water, Ning Shu also sat down and smelled his clothes. They were all sweaty and dirty. Ning Shu felt like he was in the end of the world. Anyway, she was already very far away from the place she rented. Wherever there were aliens, Ning Shu could not find the way home. Ning Shu also took a bottle of water to drink and closed his eyes to rest. Ning Shu and Wen Xing did not say a word. After all, talking was very tiring. In a day's time, they did not know how many shots they had to fire. In particular, Wen Xing had to look for aliens. It was a bit of a burden on him. It seemed that she had to learn something. When they set off again, Ning Shu carried the medical kit and followed behind Wen Xing. Had the higher-ups arrived yet? At first, Ning Shu thought that they had arrived. After all, so many armed forces had poured into the city. However, Ning Shu and Wenxing had encountered armed forces and found that these people were using weapons of this era. They did not surpass the technology of this plane. They knew that the higher-ups had not arrived yet. Did they not value this plane? That shouldn't be. Ning Shu had seen the scene of a plane collapsing. Just cleaning up the fragments of the plane was enough to make people collapse. When a plane collapsed, it would have a huge impact on the surrounding planes. It was like a pile of garbage suddenly dumped into your house. According to the growth rate of the aliens, it would soon be taken over by these things. What would happen then? Wenxing was also puzzled. He asked his system. Wenxing's system said that the higher-ups had already replied that they had sent someone. They said that they're already here, but we didn't see anyone. Wenxing shrugged. Ning Shu. Perhaps the higher-ups had chosen a host who had a high status and could mobilize armed forces. Ning Shu took out a fasting pill and gave one to Wenxing. He ate one himself. Ning Shu moved his stiff fingers and moved his blood. Not only did he have to shoot, but he also had to hold a scalpel. Now that the aliens had grown up, they did not drill into people's stomachs. Instead, they gnawed on people until they were a bloody mess. Ning Shu had even seen women's pelvic bones exposed. They had been gnawed by aliens. Moreover, women whose stomachs had been drilled into by aliens, even if they survived, their bodies were damaged. They might not be able to have children in the future. It was a woman's right to have children. However, these aliens had damaged their bodies. It really made people resentful. Some people did not have time to save them and died under the torture of the aliens. This was the case for the people who entrusted them. Don't shui. Fuck, I haven't fallen in love. I haven't bought a house yet. I've only saved money on my card. I haven't experienced anything. Wenxing rested his head on his hand and lay on the ground, looking at the stars in the sky. His posture was very elegant. He sat on the ground like a scholar. If you've seen the sea, you can't be water. If you're not on Mount Wu, you can't be clouds. Wenxing muttered. Ning Shu. This guy was actually sad. It seemed like he had been hurt in love. You were an ancient person before you became a mission enforcer? Ning Shu asked. I can see that. I'm an ancient person. Some people say that I have the aura of a bookworm. Wenxing said helplessly. He was not a bookworm, but he was the kind that read a lot. The books he had read were hidden in his aura. Wenxing looked at Ning Shu. I guess you're a modern person. Some things are carved in the bones. Ning Shu nodded. I'm a modern person. Wenxing looked at the starry sky. When I was young, I didn't know what life was. I was trapped in love and couldn't get out. Ning Shu, there's gossip. You're especially sad tonight. Ning Shu rubbed her thighs and stomach. It's not that I'm sad. I'm a scholar. When I see flowers, birds, and a city, my heart will be restless. I want to recite. Ning Shu. Ning Shu was also restless. She wanted to hear gossip, especially when she heard Wenxing say that he was trapped in love and couldn't get out. Ning Shu's heart was about to explode. She wanted to hear gossip to adjust her mood, especially if she could hear other people's sad past. It would definitely adjust her mood. If you have something sad, just say it and make everyone happy. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.